Yes. There were two kicks and there were 2 holders. So, first of all, it was a great time. It was Preds Day, Cats game, and like we talked about on Friday, I know DMase has been out there. They run a really good show out there. It's a great building, great venue in Clarksville. It's the perfect size arena. It's got great scenic value. You know, there's no bad seat there. It's a
Good
great
sight
layout.
lines.
Great sight lines.
Good sight lines. Great.
And right in the middle of the downtown, there's a lot of stuff around. It just was really enjoyable to be there. But so I go out there, and my holder is Max Hurst.
Okay.
High maintenance Hurst.
Well, that was your first problem.
Well,
Very much
Someone who's high maintenance does not hold field goals.
right.
So that was your first mistake, thinking that Max high maintenance hers.
He's going to be able to do anything.
Yeah,
I was debating.
He would have messed up his nails.
I was debating how to address this on the air because, I mean, everybody was there. They saw it, but I didn't want to throw my man Max under the bus. But it has come out on the airwaves today what happened. So, and the tape doesn't lie. I missed the kick, but the video will show that Max did the old as I'm approaching the ball.
Did he do the Charlie Brown?
Well, Lucy with Charlie Brown intentionally pulls the ball back, right?
Okay.
She just intentionally yanks it. Max was more of a I think I'm going to get kicked in the face. So
his pretty face.
He pulled his hand away from the ball as I was swinging, and he left it hanging, and the ball sagged. And I didn't
straight shank. Did it even get off the ground?
I kicked it straight, but low. I couldn't get any elevation. It fell. So they go, give him another chance. Give another one. So I switched holders, and I went to my man Nash.
Why didn't you pointed
go to
Nash?
I said, I didn't want to have Max feel bad. You know, I thought he could do the job. There was no long snap.
Nash is
a
proven.
He knows what he's doing.
Exactly.
He knows what he's doing. He had great form with the hold. And so the next kick, bam, right there. Do we have the sound? Okay, that you can't see this obviously, but you can hear the crowd's reaction.
But listen to the roar of the crowd when Willy nails this
honestly,
field
I think
goal.
they felt bad when the first one went low. Like, what happened? And they're like, give him another chance.
I got something to ask you after.
Okay. All right, let's play,
let's
Connor.
get the reaction. I don't know that they really reacted because they felt bad that I missed the first one.
I think they were genuinely,
legitimately surprised.
They knew
it was so much better on the second one.
They knew it was out of your sort of.
You are a beloved figure in this region, Willy Donick. They were very happy for you.
They were. I felt sincerely loved.
The citizens of Clarksville were
Willy,
very
here's the
happy.
Question. Is this vindication? Have you been vindicated
from the pass
punt, and kick?
Yes. Oh, I felt so much better.
Okay. You're like Cam Ward. You don't let past mistakes get to you.
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
And
did that even go through your mind?
Not really. Not really. It did. It did. I thought
there wasn't a montage of all of your.
I told Jeff Fisher before the game. I said, I was really good in the punt, pass, and kick, but I did miss a big field goal in the Citrus Bowl when I was 12 that cost me a chance to go to the Super Bowl.
Is that your opening line at parties, by the way? I was really good at the pass, punt, and kick.
Only if there's football involved.
Oh, okay.
With punting, kicking, or passing at a party. If that is happening,
if one of those three things is happening at the party,
yes,
Willy will bring
that up.
Okay.
It's a good anecdote. But this is the other thing about arena football I had appreciation for. I did not realize just how narrow the uprights are. They're more narrow than I even thought. I walked in there, I was like, oh my gosh. And then I didn't even think about this. The crossbar is about, 5 or 10 feet higher than a regular crossbar. It's, 15 or 20 feet off. So you have to get elevation.
Yeah.
So I was second guessing myself when I saw that. So I'm going to pat myself on the back. For the
Coach
redemption.
Willy stepped in and said, "You can do it, kid.
You
can do it."
I did.
Now, there is one thing that I have beef with.
Yeah.
From the video that was sent to us over the weekend, and we will post the video. How about we do that on our @1025 The Game X account. So y'all can see it too. But there's one thing, Willie.
Ask nicely first.
Please. There's one thing that I do have some beef with. You kind of big-timed Cool Cat. You hit the field goal. You do a little trot to celebrate. Cool Cat, the Nashville Cats mascot, is the first to meet you.
Yes.
And you give him what I would call a lukewarm response. He wants to engulf you in a hug. You kind of give him like the, But then as soon as you turn around and see Nash, you're broing up Nash. I know that you and Nash, are boys. You guys go way back.
We work together.
But that is true.
It's a friend from work.
But I thought you're big time Cool Guy. He was there. He was ready. And you just kind of went like,
Oh man, I feel bad.
So Cool Cat, I've got your
what
back.
I honestly thought?
You big timed him.
I thought we were going to go for the chest bump, the spontaneous chest bump with Cool Cat.
So maybe there was some mixed
I hesitated.
signals.
Yeah, it was like, are we hugging? Are we?
Oh, that's
bumping?
the worst. Is there anything worse
The
than
awkward? Yeah, going in.
Hug or handshake.
So I'm going to say in the moment I choked on that.
That's fine. I'll take that under consideration.
Okay, well, people can watch the film and see.
Yes, I need
if I shortchanged the Cool Cat.
I need a Zapruder-like breakdown of this video to see if Willie did indeed big time
shoulder like that, Willie. Because when you're thinking of a chest bump and you don't see it coming, you automatically kind of do this, So maybe that's what Adam saw, as your attorney, your lawyer. Maybe that's what you saw.
Okay.
You saw him giving the side, whereas he just said.
What were you thinking? You thought it was going to be a big hug?
I thought you were going to embrace him a little bit more.
Okay.
You gave now men out there, if you are dating or have dated, there is nothing worse than the side hug. If you get a side hug, it's over. If there's a girl you like and she gives you a side hug at the end of the date, don't even bother calling because she's not interested. Ooh. You gave Cool Cat the side hug.
But that's not a girl.
It doesn't matter.
Yes, it does.
You friend zoned Cool Cat.
You friend zoned Cool Cat.
But if you were, my client said he thought he was going to get the chest bump.
I was ready for the chest bump.
But he saw the embrace.
You gave him
changed it.
Let me rephrase.
Midstream.
You gave him the bro equivalent of a side hug.
I need to rewatch. I need to rewatch the film and see what happened here.
I just thought you had what I would call a tepid response to Cool Cat.
It wasn't. I know you didn't do it on purpose.
Well, I didn't want to steal the show. The cats were the main
But
attraction,
I'm saying, play them off. Are you?
Oh man, I really did. Oh man,
I'm telling you,
it was a double high five, but there wasn't like a big follow through.
Right, but then you turn around to Nash, and you give him, the embrace.
You were expecting that one. You were expecting the second one more so than the first.
I rest my case. He admitted his guilt.
Yeah.
You seem like you speak from experience, Adam.
Man,
I received plenty of side hugs in my day. Don't you worry.
Willie, would you like to be the Iceman or the Iron Leg? as I post this for everyone.
I think I got to go with the Iceman. It wasn't a long range kick. I think so. Greg Pogue said next year we're moving you back.
Ooh.
I was like, okay.
One texter says, curious, how long was Willie's field goal?
It was like extra point distance.
Which is how long? Is it the same in arena football?
Probably not quite that long. I don't know. It was probably 20 yards. Not NFL extra point. I think more like high school extra point.
Okay. Josh says, we love you out here in Clarksville, Willie. You've got a fan club in Clarksville.
Oh, I got to say, there are great Predator supporters in Clarksville. I've gotten to know a lot of them over the years. The commute back and forth. And for example, Max, he's been running the post-game show for the home games. Now he does a lot of the road play-by-play, but he runs the post-game show at home, does a great job. And the drivers from Clarksville, I remember this way back when I was doing Max's role. They're with you, man. They're listening all the way back home. So when Max got introduced, man, they knew who he was for sure. It was a great group. We met a lot of them. So I love going out there.
Max definitely has a fan club.
And the Cats won, and they won easy, so they're 7-1.
So take that, Meadow Lemon, son of Meadowlark Lemon.
The Minnesota Monsters, they were no match for the Cats.
They were monsterless.
Yeah, the Cats had a chance for the whole shebang here.
Oh, well,
got a chance.
you might have to go back out there
You never know.
and try another field goal. In the next segment, we will discuss the New York Knicks winning their first title in 53 years. But I do want to highlight something. I've been watching all of the celebratory videos from New York City, including, if you recall, Elmo, of all people, caused a stir in New York when he said, I hope both teams have fun, despite the fact that Elmo himself is a native New Yorker. Somebody in the celebration of the Knicks' first title in more than a half century was walking around the streets of New York City with Elmo's head on a pike with a sign underneath it that said traitor. So Elmo is persona non grata on the streets of New York. But according to Front Office Sports, 63 people were arrested around Madison Square Garden after the Knicks won their first championship since 1973. The police also said 10 officers were injured during the celebration. Other details: 10 injured NYPD officers, 4 slashing/stabbings, 5 school buses set on fire, and 5 damaged police cars. And first of all, Willie, you've made this point. Why do people riot when they win? If you want to riot when you lose, like famously happened in Vancouver about 15 years ago, that's one thing. So I'm on your side, Willie.
I'm not endorsing that either, but
Willie's endorsing. No kidding.
But like, you're frustrated, you're mad. But when you win, you're excited. You should be tearing up school buses and stuff. Some of the goofy stuff that they were doing.
So apparently, these school buses were shuttling people back and forth to the World Cup games at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey, but 5 were set on fire. The other thing, hopefully with nobody inside. The other thing, too, is it made me wonder, how would Nashville react if the Titans or the Predators won their respective championships? Would we see multiple injured officers and slashing/stabbings and school buses set on fire? I'm not saying, I mean, I can imagine at least one pedal tavern being set on fire, but do you think that we would be more, what's the word I'm looking for here? Non-criminally
reserved.
Yes. I'd like to think that we Nashvillians are a bit more civilized than New Yorkers, maybe. But it made me wonder, what would happen if the Titans or the Predators won their respective titles? Would there be wanton destruction all over the place?
Let's hope not. I agree.
I certainly hope not. But
in a city the size of New York, I think I saw the New York Post. What was it, like 53 people got arrested. There was a couple, like, so when you consider just the sheer amount of people that live in New York, we're talking about what? Google it real quick. What's our guess? What's our guess of just the 5 boroughs?
Oh, all
New
together?
York proper.
I don't know.
that's a good question.
20.
Multiple million for sure.
Close to 9 million, 10
Close to-
million,
Is it that much?
thereabouts.
Is that what it says?
Just in the.
I don't know if it's quite that. Is it?
Is it New York period or just in that area?
I was thinking 5 or 6 million.
Population estimates, July 1st, 2025, 8,584,629.
Now, is that New York metropolitan or
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
New York City, New York?
Okay,
New York
so it's
City, New
larger
York.
than that. That's just New
Okay.
York City.
Yes.
So 63 arrests, that's really not that
The
much.
percentages.
It's not that much. That's like
Yeah.
0.00001%. But still, it takes one guy with a video
Yeah, it just
camera.
takes
But
one.
not
filming some
even
goofballs.
But not even Elmo was spared. Elmo was
Poor Elmo.
decapitated, apparently.
Is he okay?
I haven't heard a word from Elmo since then. Brian
Was it
says,
the real Elmo, or was he just sending out stunt doubles because he knew
It
he
had
had
to
to
be
lay low?
stunt doubles.
It
The
may-
real
they-
Elmo was
they
safely-
never
it
catch
may
that
have been a
off.
doppelganger. It may have been one of the Elmos at Times Square, not the
Yeah.
real Elmo from Sesame Street. Brian says, did I just hear Adam endorsing burning the pedal taverns? No, but I agree 100%. They're going up when the team wins the title. So
I don't understand why like people
Pedal
do
tavern
that
standing
now,
on its edge.
because there were each instance they showed a bus burning, whether it was the same bus or not, or someone smashing a car. The camera got right in their face. The video got right in their face, and I'm thinking like, don't y'all know whatever y'all doing, they gonna get y'all? Like, it doesn't make any sense anymore. I can see you going and having some fun and, don't litter. But if that's the extent, then litter a little bit, throw things in the air. But setting things on fire? I never got that one.
Chris said the goalpost would end up in the river. I guess people would sneak into First Bank Stadium, tear down the goalpost, and bring it back to the Cumberland River. 615-737-1025. A busy, busy weekend in the world of sports. We will continue the conversation coming up next, starting with the New York Knicks, who won their first NBA title in 53 years. And some of the storylines coming out of this series, I do want to discuss coming up next. 615-737-1025. Let me tell all of you out there that we are broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service.
Hey, this is Derek Mason, and I'm here to tell you about Dr. Lodge and his staff over at Cool Springs MD. If you set out to lose weight, chances are it's not your first time setting a goal to shed some extra pounds, only to face disappointment. But I got some good news, because at Cool Springs MD, Dr. Lodge and his team understands the frustration of this cycle, and that is why they offer a different approach to weight loss. Their comprehensive weight loss program is led by Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and addresses the root cause of weight gain with tailored nutrition, exercise, blood test supplements, and more. They will customize their program specific to you and you only. So connect with Dr. Lodge at CoolSpringsMD.com today to schedule your appointment for a personalized weight loss plan just for you. That's Cool Springs MD, where your weight loss journey becomes a success story.
Got to lock in and knock down this one. And if he makes it now, no timeouts for San Antonio. If you're the Knicks, you just back up or you press up and immediately take a foul in the backcourt. Clutch one there. You don't even have to foul now. 4-point lead. Here comes Fox. 5 seconds remaining. Fox to Wemby. Wemby tries a three, puts it up, off the mark. Anunoby the rebound. It's over. It's over. Knick fans, this is not a dream. Your long, long wait has ended. Go ahead and cry. After 53 years, the Knicks are finally NBA champions once again.
The New York Knicks, NBA champions. Go ahead and cry. Mike Breen says most Knicks fans decided to destroy property. But I'm sure there was a lot of crying as well. Willy Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan here with you. The New York Knicks defeat the San Antonio Spurs in Game 5 of the series. Jalen Brunson wins Finals MVP. He scored 45 points in the 94-90 title-clinching win against the Spurs. And you know me, guys. I love my numbers. And I saw one the other day that astounded me. The New York Knicks led for only 23.6% of the series. 23.6% of the series. And yet the Knicks won the series in 5 games. That's astonishing. Absolutely astonishing.
Mathematically astonishing. I think 3 of the wins of the Knicks ranked in the top 5 or 10 in terms of greatest comebacks, biggest deficit overcome. Obviously, the 29 was one, but I mean, everybody knows that, just like you said, they were constantly behind. So it was remarkable. I have one question before we get into this game.
Yeah.
You heard Mike Breen there. And I'm curious as an announcer, right? If I ever got to do some bigger games, because what I know a dilemma is for a lot of announcers that call games for a particular team.
And Breen calls Knicks games for MSG.
And that's where I was going, right? And this happens with a lot of the best play-by-play guys. They're sought after. They have a team that they cover, and then they do the big national games. So Mike Breen, as the main announcer for the Knicks, you could tell it's definitely he's got to service the Knicks fans for sure. Like he had some emotions there because he's around that team a lot. I thought he did a pretty good job overall. I wonder how many people knew that. If you didn't already know it, upon knowing that, did you go back and look and say, boy, he was really biased towards the Knicks? People see what they want to see. I'm sure all of the Spurs fans were like, he wants us to lose, man. He's calling. He's biased. You can't win that as an announcer, but I thought he did a professional job. Did you guys think?
Yeah.
Would you have known?
No, I
he was
wouldn't
the
have
Knicks
known.
announcer?
I wouldn't have known.
I thought it was a good call, knowing what he does for a living. He is the
He's seen a lot of pain
Yes.
for the Knicks.
yes, and he isn't shy about that. I heard some interviews he did leading into the series talking about all of the pain he witnessed firsthand calling Knicks games over the year with Walt Clyde Frazier. But to the point about the Knicks only leading for 23.6% of the series, the Spurs won the first quarters by a total of 57 points and held a double-digit lead in the opening period of every game. The Knicks outscored San Antonio by 29 points in the second quarters, 14 points in the third quarters, and 27 points in the fourth quarter. So the fact that, A, the Knicks won the series despite being behind so much, and 2, did it in only 5 games, it is an incredible feat by the New York Knicks. But I do want to ask the both of you about something I've seen pop up on the other side. I've seen a lot of stories written about Victor Wembanyama and the Spurs and their inexperience. And we've all seen teams that got far and failed. And that was sort of the launching pad for those teams to eventually win. For example, I'll use a personal experience. When the Predators played the Colorado Avalanche in the first round of the 2018 playoffs, the Avalanche gave the Predators a series. That was the year the Predators won the President's Trophy. And that was a young Nathan McKinnon and a young Gabriel Landeskog and a young Mikko Rantanen. And although the Predators won Game 6 handily in Denver, I remember leaving that series, and Willie, I bet you did too, thinking that team's on its way.
They're going to be good.
They're going to be good.
They're going to be good.
And you saw it ultimately 4 years later, the Colorado Avalanche won the Stanley Cup. So I see the Spurs, I see this loss for the Spurs being that similar, hey, they had to learn how to lose or win or whatever. But here's something I've also noticed, and I want to get your guys' opinion on this. It feels like Victor Wembanyama, Connor will like this, Victor Wembanyama underwent a heel turn in this series. I feel like there was a lot of chatter about Victor Wembanyama being dirty and Victor Wembanyama being a villain. I guess he didn't shake hands after the game was over the other night. So do you feel like Wembanyama became a bit villainous from this series? Do you think it was just this series where he willingly played the villain perhaps? Or do you think this is, as I said, the start of a heel turn for Victor Wembanyama, who seems to be one of the good guys in the sport from afar, but he seemed to embrace the dark side in this series?
I think every great player faces that, because when you're winning, people like the idea of the Spurs 2 years ago before they got Wemby, and they were at the bottom of the cellar. And then all of a sudden, they get this alien of a player that transcends their franchise, and they like to climb up. But then once he gets there, there are going to be people that turn all the great, whether it was Magic, whether it was Bird. Magic probably not, because he just had an infectious sort of personality. So everybody sort of loved him unless you was a Celtics fan. But if you look, let's just say the last couple of years, Jokic, people started disliking him. LeBron, obviously.
Yes.
Steph.
Did people really dislike Steph?
Yeah,
I think there was like an overexposure kind of thing.
Absolutely. It was we don't like Golden State.
They're winning too much.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We don't like their leader.
I felt Draymond Green and to an extent Kevin Durant took some of the heat off of Steph Curry.
Yeah,
for sure.
But it still was this sort of this hate brewing. Anthony Edwards, it was this hate brewing. Jaylen Brown or
Jason
Tatum. When you start people love the fight going up. But if you even Michael Jordan, people love the fight because he had to overcome the Detroit Pistons. So people loved it. Then when he got there and stayed there, they hated it. And they hated him in particular because he was the linchpin of it all. Wemby is the linchpin. And they're going to continue to. People didn't like Tim Duncan. And he was just, what is there not to like about Tim Duncan? Other than him
He's
winning.
boring, man. He's
just boring.
Too many fundamentals.
Oh, man. Isn't that what basketball is about? David Robinson, the same thing. So,
I just saw an interview with Tim Duncan, and he's got like long dreads now.
He does?
Yes.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Would you agree with that, Willie?
Oh, yeah.
I
think there's
across
a sense.
the board.
I think there's no question that Michael Jordan having to play for 6-7 years before he won it, he had to earn. And then once you got to the top, it was like he's the king of the mountain. Now you want to knock him off the mountain.
Exactly.
I also too think a little bit of the Spurs with Wemby is, you want to see them have to come back and earn it, learn from this, right? It almost would have been too much too soon for them to win. Like Harper's 20 years old. That guy is going to be unbelievable.
But Wemby's been
And
battling
Wemby's
this for 2
22.
years. This will be the third year.
They've got most of their nucleus is 23, 24 and under. Like they are going to be really good for a while. So I hope, like you sort of set the table for this, Adam. I hope like they're going to be in the mix the next 4 or 5 years. There's going to be other teams trying to knock them off, but you feel like that's going to be a fun team to follow. But the not shaking hands thing, I don't know. Like it's got to be upsetting that it's on your court. There's a lot of Knicks fans and all the celebrities found a way to get into that building. And there were a lot of Knicks fans. They're coming on the court. Like you don't have the hockey situation where everybody's jumping on the ice. You have the handshake line in the hockey, and that's a tradition. That's gonna happen. What is the customary thing in basketball? Because I agree with you, Adam. I would have liked to have seen him shake hands after battling. As far as the dirty player, I don't think he's any more dirty. They let so much go. The wrestling, the grabbing, the pushing, I've got to hold you off. Like they let all of that go.
You felt he was playing within the confines of the rules based on how the game was being
officiated. And a guy that big who's getting leaned on, grabbed, you're gonna hit somebody with your elbow at some point. That's basketball, especially in that environment. So that stuff doesn't bother me at all. I think he is going to grow up and mature. English is a second language too. Like I think he's going to be great over time. So I don't think he's going to be the villain.
That handshake thing, under that circumstance, it's hard to it's hard to get on the kid about this, because when you lose a championship, and for those that may have won some, they think about it different. That's why I said, it's when you've lost a championship, it's over with. Because you may not get another opportunity. You're upset. You're just completely upset, and you walk away. In football, during that time, there are guys that shake hands, but there are guys that also just go back to the locker room because they're so upset. Yeah. Like I don't have time to be. Why? You're in the tent. I need to go into the locker room. Maybe that's what happened for him. Like, because he had to carry if he doesn't play the way he played, they are not where they're at. Plain and simple.
Yeah.
And it's a lot on his shoulders. So I just hope, like you said, he learns from this, but I don't want him to be the villain because of this, because the first thing people say, well, remember what Isaiah Thomas did to Michael Jordan? It was nothing to Detroit. It was y'all that sort of the journalists and everyone else that cover sports, y'all fueled it. To Detroit, it was just like, man, we're upset. We're leaving. And they did. So I don't necessarily, I wish he would have shook hands, but I'm not going to make this this the end all be all when it comes to Victor.
I have seen people after the game, they don't shake hands on the court, but after everything calms down a little bit, maybe you go over to
You
the
dap
locker
it
room.
up.
Yeah.
Or you go behind the scenes, like in the locker room, you can walk over and
Yeah.
congratulate the guys. I hope something like that happened at some point when you cooled down a little bit. But I sympathize a little bit with, on your court, it's a really close game. You've lost at the end of the game, basically all of the losses, right? You're frustrated that you couldn't close it out. You're so close. And then you see all these Knicks fans invading your court. Like, I can see the instinct going, I got to get out of here. And then when you cool down, you're like, let me go congratulate the Knicks. I'm sure in some form it would happen. I would hope.
Let's quickly go to Mike on our phone line. Thank you for calling, Mike. Go ahead.
Hey, so as a diehard Spurs fan, this has been a really rough week to try to work through things and all. But Victor Wembanyama negative villain side stemmed and started from the OKC series after he dropped that vicious elbow to Hartenstein. It pretty much set him into that role, and I think that the media and OKC fans on top of that have kind of pushed that label onto Victor. What Victor really is, what it boils down to, is a guy who's just extremely passionate about what he's trying to do. I mean, he went and trained with Monk over the season to try to get stronger and to do everything else. He's just very, very passionate about what he does and is trying his best to, lead this team full of what feels like teenagers. Y'all brought it up that half this team, some of those guys, the core players on the team, can't even legally buy a beer if they wanted to. And the fact that they are, this far along and ahead of schedule, it's pretty amazing. I mean, does it suck? I knew good and well after they dropped that 30-point, 29-point game 5 that they were going to come into 6 and it wasn't going to be good. You don't bounce back from an embarrassment like that and do what you need to do. But I think that, again, all that labeling had a lot more to do with the outside media forcing that on him and all the fouls. I mean, it's like you watch how physical those games were. They could have called a foul against him or the other team every possession if they really wanted to, because of just the sheer size. They just don't know how to, what to do with the guy. And again, I'm blessed that he's on my team.
I think
Thank you, Mike.
Honestly, I think going forward, they've got to figure out how to officiate games like that, because I thought it got in the way of otherwise great competitive basketball, but it was hard not to notice the wrestling match going out there. And I know why. It's because everybody can shoot. You got guys like Brunson. How are you going to guard Brunson if you can't hand check a little bit? Because he's still so good at getting his shot and everything. Like, how do you stop Wemby if you can't grab and hold a little bit? But they've got to figure that out.
615-737-1025. We'll take your thoughts on the Knicks winning their first title since 1973 over the weekend. 615-737-1025. But coming up next, Turron Davenport, ESPN NFL Nation Titans reporter, will join the program. Mandatory minicamp is this week. We'll get TD's thoughts on it coming up next. 615-737-1025. Willy Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 1025 The Game.
Look at that. They don't have the score up on the thing. They don't put the score up there. There's only the clock. I don't know what the score is.
Needle in the haystack. Is main camp tomorrow? Tomorrow?
Dolphins sign safety Major Burns.
That was some Major Burns.
Major Burns.
Cool.
Tomorrow.
Atwater. This is like
So we have Belgium and Ecuador? Egypt.
I know football's great now, but like Monday night was like it was the music. Dun, 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 dun.
I remember watching this. This was a big.
Man, when Monday night football came on, you stayed up to watch it.
It's a dramatic ending too.
Yeah, it said you stayed up. That's Burton.
Willie Davis is on that team.
Is he? I played with Willie Davis.
I know.
For here 2 years. What was it, a year or 2 years? I think. No, it was a year. I think they cut him this next year. But it was a appointment watching. Like Monday night, you just knew. And Detroit used to come out. I think he used to come out at 9. There may have been a Sunday night.
This is right around the time that Sunday night started, right?
It may have already started, yeah. But Monday night was the big thing.
All Sunday, and you got the one game Monday.
Replay? Oh, he dropped it.
There's no. I don't think there was replay back.
No, I don't think there was either. Oh,
Marcus.
Mark Allen.
Oh, what did they throw a flag on?
That's a late flag. Late flag, ref.
Who did they throw a flag? I ain't want to call no. They called a personal foul or something. Holding. Oh, holding offense. Marty Schottenheimer.
Look at that guy in the back. That was the style.
DMase, Vingan, and Donick, 1025. The game, Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan here with you. The Titans open up mandatory minicamp tomorrow. And to help us discuss that, we go to our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in our friend Turron Davenport, ESPN NFL Nation Titans reporter, who is presented by Bart Durham Injury Law. TD, hopefully you behaved yourself after the Knicks won the title over the weekend. Many New Yorkers did not.
Yeah, I was well behaved, man. No issues. Just a little celebratory clapping. And hey, man, I know the city is going crazy, and I want to go, but I'm not going to do it.
Well, we'll see how that parade goes later this week. But Turron, this week the Titans report for mandatory minicamp before they break until late July for training camp. And what I respect about you, Turron, is you suffer no fools. You shoot us straight. And I'm sure you are seeing this, for lack of a better term, war brewing around Cam Ward based on his performance at OTAs combined with how he played in his rookie season. So again, you suffer no fools. You tell it like it is. How do you think, or what do you think is the proper way to evaluate Ward's performance in practice recently?
Well, I think the proper way is to understand context with it. He's been inaccurate. Like, there's no getting around it. But, I mean, you got to look at some of the things surrounding it. And really, at the end of the day, you got to understand that, hey, look, man, it's only OTAs. There's still plenty of opportunities to get stuff right. And you just have an even keel mindset. And, I mean, I think the same thing could be applied to the Cornell Tate hype, right? Where, you know, all of a sudden, this guy is you know, Jerry Rice Jr., and he's not. You know what I mean? You just got to take everything for what it is, like context.
Which player, Turron, who did not participate on the field at OTAs, are you most looking forward to watching this week?
Oh, that one's easy for me, and that's Cordell Flott. I think, you know, you look at the secondary, that's going to be a very important piece to, you know, this defense. I think when you look at him having not been on the field as far as on the field doing football stuff, he worked on the side field on one of the days, but he hasn't been part of, you know, everything that's going on. So he's somebody, just knowing that he's working his way back from injury and everything. So that would be the first one for me.
We'll talk with Turron Davenport discussing the Tennessee Titans, amongst other things. Now, Turron, let's go back to basketball real quick because, I mean, you're from that, not necessarily from New York, but Philly, and they've had their battles with New York teams. What do you think it means just for, because you've been in sports a long time and you've covered it for a long time. What do you think it means to the New York Knicks that they finally won a championship, and what it potentially means to the NBA?
Oh man, it's huge. It's huge. I mean, look, I lived in New York, you know, till I was 11, and I know when you have the Knicks themselves, like that's a team where there's no Rangers and Islanders, there's no Mets and Yankees. Look, the Knicks are New York's basketball team, and I've seen the Garden. I saw it 94. I saw it 99, how it was and how everybody was so hyped. And it's like, it unifies everybody because, like, again, there's no, hey, I like the Mets, you like the Yankees. No, we like the Knicks. So it's big time. And I think, you know, basketball is something that New York takes personally, has a pride in. And I'm not going to say New York feels like basketball started there, but they feel like that's where it's at its best.
Absolutely. Now, getting back to the Titans, how do you think they're going to use the running back combination? Meaning, is it going to look a lot different from what it has been the last couple of years when Tajay and Pollard has been teamed up? Or do you think Dabo will use those two in a different way, or a way we haven't seen them being used up until now?
No, I think you're going to see them used on the field at the same time. I think when you look at both of these guys, they're capable pass catchers, and Singleton is too. But I think, you know, how the carries are distributed, that remains to be seen. But I've seen in the past where Dabo, he has used multiple guys, you know. So it's not going to surprise me if, you know, 1 week Tajay gets 17 carries and the next week he gets 7. You know, that's just kind of how things are probably going to be, and he just has to, each one, like when it's not their week, they got to be patient and understand that, opportunities are coming, and you got to take advantage of them when they come.
Now, looking at this conference, the AFC South, I'm not saying that the Titans are the best team, but do you think they've gotten a little bit better than what they're, the other teams within the conference have gotten? And again, it's not a question of who's better. It's who's made the better moves this offseason.
Yeah, I think they've made some really good moves. And the thing is, them making the most improvement, as you said, doesn't necessarily mean that they're the best team. But the thing is, where they were coming from to where they are now, I think has been the biggest improvement. But that still leaves them right there at the bottom. Like, I'm not going to say that they're – I still think Jacksonville and I still think Houston, those are more talented teams. And Indianapolis is an intriguing team. I don't think they're more talented, but, I think the Titans and Colts are right there, neck and neck.
We're talking to Turron Davenport, ESPN.com, Talking with TD, the podcast. And speaking of podcasts, TD, I was listening to the MMQB. They were talking about, what the Rams might try to do with Myles Garrett. And they talked about a philosophy that the Rams use sometimes of rather than just an overall scheme, it's taking a player like Aaron Donald back a few years ago and now with Garrett, where it all starts with how do you use a player like Garrett and then scheme around it. How much do you think Robert Saleh, when he watches Jeffrey Simmons, is saying to himself, how do I get the most out of him? And do within the scheme, how do I use him to really set the game play? What are you seeing there?
Yeah, I think with Jeffrey Simmons, what Saleh's going to take advantage of is his versatility. And, I don't think it's much different from what Denard Wilson did as far as allowing Jeff to line up, all over the place, whether it be, on the outside and rush the passer or, from a 3 or 5 technique type of situation. And I think that's really good. If you go back and you look at Quentin Williams, similar type of player, probably a little more reliant on just brute strength. I think Jeff is a little more athletic than him. But, you look at the success Quentin Williams had, in that scheme. So it's definitely going to be something that bodes well for Jeff. And I think when you look at Saleh and what he's going to do, he's just going to set him up with opportunities to rush the passer and really good ones as far as scheming it up and that type of stuff. And taking advantage of having a very, very deep group of guys, to go after the quarterback.
Well, with the depth, do you think he'll be on the field, Simmons, for less plays than we've expected to see over the years?
I do. I think he will be on the field for less plays because, look, if you go back, you look at some of the numbers with Jeff, 80 to 90% snaps. I remember after every game looking, and he was like right in that area as far as how many snaps he was taking. So, yeah, I think it's going to be reduced because the whole thing is Robert Saleh and White Cotton and them, they want like 60%. And it's just one of those things where they feel like there's the diminishing returns after a higher rotation. They want guys fresh, ready to go, and go attack.
And then the ongoing question, I know all of the focus, especially this week, will be on Cam Ward, but I continue to be intrigued with how they're trying to keep Will Levis involved, even if it's just raise his stock so that you can find somebody that's interested in him. It's going to be a crowded house, but what have you seen so far? How many reps is he getting? How does he look? Yeah,
the Will Levis experience, man. We got to see that in full play last Tuesday where he ripped a post to one of the tight ends, and I'm talking about like he ripped it, and it was a beautiful throw, and you're like, wow, you're not going to see many guys that can make that throw. But then 2 plays later, he tried to force one, and it got picked off, and you're just like, oh, man. And that's the Will Levis experience. He's so talented, and he's always going to be someone that is intriguing to a confident play caller who's going to say, you know what, I could take all that, and we're going to harness it, and we're going to figure it out. And who knows, somebody might be able to do that. But that's how he's looked, right? He's had some of the best throws that I've seen, in OTAs. He threw a beautiful deep pass to Bryce Oliver on a go route. I've seen him drive the ball in the middle of the field. Like, it all looks good, but then you have those moments where it's just like, yeah, that's the offset. So he definitely looks confident. He looks comfortable. I think he has the understanding of the offense, so that's all good.
How many reps is he getting relative to Trubisky?
Well, he's coming in after Trubisky. He's getting a full series. Like, he's getting an opportunity. That's without a doubt. The guy who really isn't getting much of an opportunity is Hendon Hooker, unfortunately. But it just kind of is what it is. There's only so many reps to go around.
Turron Davenport has been our guest on DMase, Vingan and Donick. He joins us every Monday. It is presented by Bart Durham Injury Law. TD, as always, a pleasure. Enjoy minicamp. We'll catch up next week.
All right, for sure. Appreciate you guys. Let's go, Mets.
2 out of 3 against the Braves. Chase McCabe.
Let's go.
Thank you, TD.
Creeping up towards 500. Just got to get to 500. Get Frankie Lindor back. Okay.
I do
That's
wonder
for our private Mets pod later, but TD and I.
I do wonder if we hear from Will Levis at some point. I do not believe we've heard from Will Levis since he underwent the surgery before last season. He was away from the team for most of the season, if I recall correctly. I don't think he has done any sort of interview since he's been back. I do wonder if we hear from him this week or during training camp, because I would be curious to hear what Will Levis has to say. I'm sure he'll play it straight and say he's thankful for the opportunity and he's out there to compete and all of those things. But maybe with Will Levis, you never know. Perhaps something might slip that would be juicy for us to talk about. But I do wonder if and when Levis speaks for the first time since being replaced, if he says anything interesting.
I don't think he will. I think he understands how to play the game, and he's gonna talk like a confident player, but he understands where he's at. That doesn't mean you got to stay here or be content with it, but I don't think he's gonna do anything. Depending on what the question is, I think he's gonna try to dodge everything and keep it more so about just him going out and doing the best he can.
615-737-1025. We will get back into the Titans during the 5 o'clock hour. But coming up next, the New York Knicks were not the only team to win a title over the weekend. The Carolina Hurricanes have won the Stanley Cup for the first time in 20 years. What did they teach us about building a winner? We will discuss that coming up next. 615-737-1025. Willy Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 1025 The Game. DMase, Vingen, and Donick, 1025 The Game. Willy Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingen, and Connor Newt here with you. During the break, we were enjoying this Monday Night Football Classic on NFL Network between the Denver Broncos and Kansas City Chiefs. And I swear, I have yet to see the score at any point on the screen.
That used to be how it was until around this time. And I believe, if I got my history right, that Fox, when they came on in the early 90s, I think 93, if I had to guess, this game we're watching is Montana versus Elway in 94. This is great fashion. We did this last summer. Remember, we looked at a retro game from the 80s?
Yes.
This is a classic. I can remember watching it. But ABC does not have the score bug on there constantly. Remember over the weekend or the last week, there were some storms in the area, and it was covering
News too.
Right. It was covering the Knicks Spurs score, and everybody was just going bonkers.
Come
I
on,
can't see the score.
Corey Curtis.
That used to be what we had to deal with the whole time. We never had the score up. They still didn't show it. What's going on? They went to a commercial. Come on. What's the score?
How did you old heads
play.
watch a game without knowing
I
the
don't
score?
know. I don't know.
sure
You had
it's
to
the
pay
way the
attention. You
television-
actually had to watch the whole game.
It has to be the way they got the television framed.
Yeah.
It could be.
Yeah.
It could be.
This is like a foreign language to me.
Yeah.
I don't understand any
Or,
of what you're saying.
I mean, because we don't have it turned up, they probably said the score about 8 times. But we don't have it
People
turned
who
up.
complain about score bugs touch grass. That's all I have to say. You see that every year during the Super Bowl. Oh, look at the score bug. I don't like the score bug. It tells you the score. It's not a meaningful part of the game other than knowing what the score is. But
This is a personal attack on me.
are you a score bug person?
Yes, I am.
Okay, well, we'll
that's
have a talk after the show.
This is another thing we discuss in this day and age too, with all of the numbers that are available with analytics and everything, is how much to put up on a bug, right? Before it becomes just too distracting. Like some people have like a ticker going with stats or scores that's constant. That's kind of a thing, but you could pop up anything you want there. That
I'm a huge presentation nerd. Like I am just
Okay.
fascinated by
so you want the stuff.
I'm fascinated by the stats. I'm fascinated by how things look. I'm fascinated by the professionalism of a broadcast.
But at what point does it become too busy? You don't care?
I mean,
As long as you can see what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm watching, like let's say we're watching Sunday Night Football and they put too much up there, which is never the case. It wouldn't bother me as much, but I could see how it bother other people. But I just like the pageantry of the broadcast and the score bugs and stuff like that.
You learn something new every day.
Yeah.
There you go.
Connor Newt, big score bug nerd.
The other one is if you're at a Major League Baseball game, they literally have every single number of the pitcher and the hitter.
Yes.
To the point where there's so many numbers, you're like, I just want to see what the count is. Is it 2-1? Is it 2-2? Like, where's that? Ball, strike, out.
I love that though. It adds to the pageantry.
Even at the Sounds games, it's like,
Oh yeah, they've got
Yeah.
everything. They've got horizontal movement. They've got what pitch it is. They've
It's
got
cool.
they've got everything.
but that's another topic for another day. One texter says Titans radio needs to give the score of Titans games more often. That's not our purview. That's across the
Well, see,
street.
that is a rule of radio that definitely is something that you have to do. It's the most basic thing. What's the score? People are tuning in, tuning out all the time. TV, you don't have to worry about it. Now, you do here in the 1994 game we're watching. What's the score, people?
I want to know how this
They
game
still
ends.
haven't shown it.
We'll find out. But we know how one game ended last night, and we know what
do.
the score was.
We know what the score
We know
was.
what the score was. 3-0. The Carolina Hurricanes blank the Vegas Golden Knights in Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final. Carolina wins its first Stanley Cup in 20 years. Jordan Stahl wins the Conn Smythe Trophy as playoff MVP, the oldest Conn Smythe Trophy recipient in NHL postseason history. He went 17 years between winning the Stanley Cup in 2009 and 2026, the longest gap between Stanley Cup wins by a player in NHL history. So congratulations to the Carolina Hurricanes. As someone who was born in North Carolina, I do have a soft spot for the Hurricanes. I was very happy for them and their fans as they win their first title in 20 years. By the way, if you're looking for futures bets for the 2027 Stanley Cup, I do have those for you. The Hurricanes are favored at plus 700. The Nashville Predators plus 10,000 currently to win the Stanley Cup in 2027. The only teams with longer odds than the Predators, the Seattle Kraken at plus 20,000, the Chicago Blackhawks at plus 25,000, the Calgary Flames and the Vancouver Canucks at plus 50,000 each. So Vegas not looking so confident in the Nashville Predators for next season.
But that should not surprise you.
No, it does not surprise me one bit. But as is tradition, when a team wins a title, we look for lessons. What can this team teach us about building a winner? So let's apply that here, as we have an NHL team in town. Willie, what did the Carolina Hurricanes teach us about building a winner?
I think I've given this a lot of thought. Number one, I like when a team has had a good formula for a long time, which they have, and not broken through, and they have fought through you got to scrap this. It's not working. You're never going to win, even though they've been in contention for several years under Rod Brind'Amour. So I like that they saw it through and were able to win by using basically the same core of players and working around it. And then the other thing is I think there's a lot of money ball, and, those clips are still circulating a lot in baseball, right? That movie has brought to life the beginning of the whole analytics era in all sports. But I think Carolina is probably a pretty decent, you tell me if you agree, Adam, a pretty decent version of the A's. Now there's a salary cap. The A's played with no salary cap, but they're really into finding guys who are more valuable in their place and fit with them for better prices. Shane Gostisbehere, there's a lot of examples of guys that they brought in. People were like, Carolina wants that guy? Why? We didn't have that guy on our radar. But they know what to look for, and it all revolves around what fits Rod Brind'Amour's unique coaching style.
And I think Brind'Amour is such a big part of this. The Hurricanes are such a unique team. And I think their success stems in large part from Brind'Amour, who just won the Stanley Cup in his 8th season as coach. We rarely see that longevity in the NHL among coaches. By the way, guy's still shredded. He's Rod the Bod for a reason. He was going shirtless in the dressing room.
Tarps off. He can still go. You can tell that he could strap on a pair of skates and play at a high level if he wanted to, but that's beside the point.
Brind'Amour has a distinct style of play, and not everyone is cut out for it. The Hurricanes also do not try to jam square pegs into round holes. The way Carolina handled the Mikko Rantanen situation has worked out wonderfully, but how many teams would have cut their losses on such a major trade? How many teams would have said, hey, we just paid a fortune to bring in Mikko Rantanen. Even if he's not sure about being here, we're going to try to make it work, and we need him for the playoffs, and we'll worry about it later. But that's not what the Hurricanes did. He did not fit their style, and so they traded him. He played 13 games for the Carolina Hurricanes.
I don't want to be here.
And again, most teams would have said, maybe you'll change your mind. We'll talk. We'll work on it. But the Hurricanes said, you don't want to be here? Fine. All right. We'll move on from you. And from that trade, the Hurricanes acquired Logan Stankoven, Taylor Hall, Keandre Miller, and Nikolai Ehlers in some form, all of whom were pivotal in the championship run. The other thing, too, along those lines, Willie, that you mentioned before, Carolina has been able to find value in players who may not seem valuable, if that makes sense. When the Predators, I almost combined Predators and traded the Predators. The Predators traded Mark Jankowski to the Hurricanes for a 5th-round pick last year. That barely resonated around here. How many Predators fans thought, wait a minute, they got a 5th-round pick for Mark Jankowski? Hey, good for the Predators. But Jankowski has anchored a really solid 4th line in Carolina. And that is something that Chris McFarland was good at doing in Colorado, finding value in not so obvious ways. So hopefully he can bring that here. But those are some of the things that I take away from Carolina's win.
I do hope that Chris McFarland, and I do think this is something he has been praised for, is finding those guys, the right fit. But it also says something about continuity. I asked this question to Elliot a couple weeks ago. I think it's a good one. Would a market like Toronto, New York, Montreal, any of the Canadian markets really, would they have been as patient to stay with Rod Brind'Amour? Is Rod Brind'Amour that special that even in a big market where it's easy to lose patience if you haven't broken through and won the whole thing, would they have stayed with it for, what has it been, 8 years since he's been the coach? Like I think
this was his 8th season.
I would think after the 5th or 6th season of knocking on the door but never breaking through, there would have been a lot of talk of, should we replace the coach? Should we go in a different direction? But to their credit, and their market is a little different. It's a little bit more like Nashville, right? You're not scrutinized by 10 beat writers for every media session, right? So you're not under the microscope like you would be in Toronto. But to their credit, they were like, you know what? Let's just keep our formula going. Let's keep finding guys that fit our style, and eventually we'll break through. And so I tip my cap to them.
There's one other lesson I think people are going to take away from the Hurricanes winning the Stanley Cup final, but I'm not sure it's the right lesson, is, well, the Carolina Hurricanes won the Stanley Cup with Brandon Bussi playing games in the Stanley Cup final, so you don't need an elite or expensive goaltender. I mean, the Brandon Bussi story is fabulous. I mean, someone found his LinkedIn page. He was working at Chipotle, apparently, during the pandemic.
Isn't that crazy?
It's a fabulous story. And Freddie Anderson got the Hurricanes as far as he could take them. I believe he tweaked his knee or something early in the series. Brandon Bussi comes in. He was great for them in the regular season, but a fabulous story and such a tough spot. But to me, it's not like, well, if Brandon Bussi can win the Stanley Cup, you don't need Juuse Saros, for example. But one thing I do think the Hurricanes and many teams in the Stanley Cup playoffs taught us, one thing they taught us is this: goalie tandems have taken on such importance. The days of one goaltender starting 60 games, 65 games, those days are in the rear view mirror. Carolina used multiple goaltenders. Colorado used multiple goaltenders. Minnesota early in the playoffs used multiple goaltenders. You really need 2 goaltenders to have a chance. And if you're a Predators fan, you're hoping with the performance of Justus Annunen down the stretch of the regular season and overseas at the World Championship, last month or whenever it was, you're hoping that, hey, the Predators have a tandem in Saros and Annunen who, if given the opportunity, can get the Predators far in the postseason. There are other things that the Predators need to rectify. But to me, you like the days of, hey, there are still those exceptions out there, Connor Hellebuck and Igor Shesterkin and Ilya Sorokin and Andrei Vasilevsky. But those days, I think, they're going to be exceptions more so in the future.
I think it'll be a big question for the team this year is, how do you break up Saros and Annunen with the number of starts for each guy? Because as Saros ages and Annunen continues to rise, if that trend continues, then I think it's a fair question of balancing it out more, with the trend already being that you need 2 and there are benefits to playing 2. But I think with it's important to note with Carolina, they're so good with possession and defense that, and it's by design, that I don't think they need to pay the goalie huge. And that was a big question mark for a while. They stuck with it, right? For all the years, they've never really gone big on the goalie. But there's, like last night, Bussi for 2.5 periods really didn't face that many shots. I think there were maybe 15 shots until the very end where it got desperate. I don't know if he ended up making 24. He made some good saves at the end where it was 2-0. But that was a game, arguably, that a lot of goalies would have had a shutout, right? Because the defense was so good, and
he made 22 saves. He faced 3 shots in the second period.
Right. And it was like that a lot of the games.
Yes. So Carolina is a unique case just
Very
because of the way the roster is constructed, the longevity of the coach. I mean, the front office itself, Greg Wyshynski of ESPN wrote a great story about the quote unquote jock and the nerd. You've got Rod Brindamore, Rod the Bod, great player, and
Right.
Eric Tulsky, the PhD, who was commenting on hockey blogs 10, 15 years ago. Right. And they've come together.
He's got like he's got 2 degrees from Harvard, right? Like he's got some graduate degrees.
He's got some.
One of them's like science. So one is like not sports that he's got a degree in, right?
Yeah, I'll have to look it up. But it's such an odd couple.
It is.
But they've come together and they've built a really good team. So congratulations to the Carolina Hurricanes. The NHL draft is upon us in about a week and a half, I want to say. The Predators have the 10th pick in the draft. 615-737-1025. Matthew from Jolton says, if someone is betting on the Stanley Cup winner the day after the finals, they have a serious problem. Speaking of gambling problems, coming up next, Brendan Sorsby, the latest in that saga. It's getting a bit litigious. We'll discuss that coming up next. 615-737-1025. Willy Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 1025 The Game.
If you've lived in Middle Tennessee for any time, then you've seen how wild our weather can be, from winter storms, tornadoes, to flooding. We've seen it all. Like many of you, the winter storm earlier this year caught me unprepared. I lost power for 7 days. That was 7 days out of my house at a hotel, worrying about whether my pipes were going to burst or not. That's when I realized being prepared isn't optional. I'll be ready the next time a weather emergency hits or happens. I started looking around for whole home generators and found Tri-State Water, Power, and Air. They've been in business for over 30 years, specializing in generators for more than half of those, which is all great. But the reason I reached out and ultimately chose to go with them was because of the reviews and the confidence other homeowners shared about their experience with Tri-State Water, Power, and Air, which I also experienced. When Tri-State came to my home, they did a free on-site assessment and made sure the generator fit my home for me and my family's needs. The thing is I appreciated the most was they didn't try to oversell me. They just got straight to the answers, turnkey. They handle everything from installations to long-term services. If anything ever goes wrong, I'm not calling around, which I hate to do. I'm making one call to Tri-State Water, Power, and Air because they got it covered. That's the kind of relationship I want, and I know that's the kind of relationship you want. So look, the weather isn't slowing down. Be ready. Call Tri-State Water, Power, and Air today and protect your home for you and your family. Find them at tristatewhywait.com. That's tristatewhywait.com.
DMase, Vingan, and Donick, 1025. The gang, Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan here with you. By the way, we forgot to mention this during our discussion of the Stanley Cup Final. Do you think John Tortorella is going to get his clothes back? Because if you recall, after Game 5, he said, quote, "We'll be back here," meaning in Carolina. "I'm going to leave my clothes here. That's for sure. They'll be in the hotel." Do you think he's getting them back?
Do you think somebody at the hotel is taking the initiative and saying, "Hey, I heard about the story. Here's Torts' clothes. Let's make sure he gets these back"?
Hope so.
Or do you think Tortorella's got to call the hotel? "Hey, this is John Tortorella. I was in room 1232. Are my clothes still there?"
I think what he did. I think what he did was he left it at the front desk. He left his clothes
for effect.
Yeah, he said,
"I'm
keep
leaving
that.
this
I'll
here.
be back."
Keep it in storage.
He left a box with the address, all
Okay.
postage and everything.
Exactly.
If we don't come back, can you just discreetly send it back to me, please?
Do you think he had to give him the? I don't think he took
No,
the time.
I'm joking, of course.
But I could see him leaving a bag there or something. Say,
Just
"This is
in
my
case.
stuff. I want to leave this here. I'm coming back."
Spoiler alert, he did not come back.
Now the question is, does he get his job?
Does he
back?
come back
Yeah.
as coach of the Vegas Golden Knights? That is a question. We'll see what happens. But the latest in the Brendan Sorsby saga took place earlier today. I am reading directly from Chris Vanini and Justin Williams of The Athletic. Quote, "The Big 12 filed a lawsuit in federal court Monday over the Brendan Sorsby saga, asking the court to bar Texas Tech and the state attorney general from preventing the league's sanctioning of Texas Tech if it plays the quarterback in the 2026 college football season. Among the potential penalties the Big 12 controls, according to the filing, are postseason bans or restrictions on revenue distributions for Texas Tech if the school were to play Sorsby in a game." Quote, "The Big 12 and its member institutions, parentheses, apparently save TTU, have no interest in being required to endorse or even appearing to endorse unethical and indeed unlawful conduct that strikes at the heart of athletic integrity," the filing reads. The filing states that in the past week, Texas Tech has communicated to the league its intent to play Sorsby in conference football games, while the league has asked it not to do so. That claim is further than Texas Tech officials have said publicly, describing Sorsby's situation as being taken one day at a time.
So it's an interesting move by the league because I want to say probably decades now, plural, you rarely see league offices punish players. This was a big thing a couple years ago with the Big Ten when the signal stealing thing with Michigan was going on. Is how do you handle it? You're the conference commissioner. You should be able to levy penalties as you see fit. But a lot of times what happens is, well, there's money at stake here. We might be taking a championship team out of the mix. That's a lot of money for our league and the rest of the league. When it should be the opposite. You should be sticking up for the other members of your league. So that's what's kind of ironic here is in this day and age where usually you look the other way. Well, this team might be cheating. Well, kind of probably everybody in the league's cheating. We want everybody to win. We're not taking money out of the team's pocket. If it was somebody else in the league, you'd want us to do the same thing. But here it is unified. Don't let these guys represent our league. The commissioner wants the power to enforce the rules of the NCAA. And they've got to do it because the NCAA has been neutered here by the one judge. So it's an interesting strategy because they're not really going after Sorsby. They're going after the member of their league that is playing this guy.
Well, they're going and trying to justify as much as they possibly can, which they shouldn't need any justification, the rules that are within
yes,
the
that everybody
rule book.
knows.
Yeah, that everybody knows. So that's what they're trying to do. And maybe this is this is the last resort for them because they can't, them trying to collude and hold him out. That's not going to work because you can end up suing for collusion. I'm surprised they didn't go this route in the first place, where you can have him on your team, but our book, you can't play. Like he can be on your team, but the minute he plays, you forfeit that game.
Yeah, and it fulfills the whole.
Exactly.
We're looking out for him. We don't want to separate him from the group. We're trying to look out for the well-being of him long term. That is their angle to let him play, and it looks very shallow because deep down, most people think, well, they're doing this so that they have a really good quarterback that they presumably are going to pay a lot of money. But I think the consensus from everybody outside of Lubbock is that's fine. We want Brandon Sorsby to succeed as a person, but that doesn't mean he should be allowed to play this season because he committed a rule that everybody knows you can't break. You can't violate that rule.
The Big 12 wrote in the filing, quote, in an industry that rarely agrees on anything, there is finally an issue that everyone seems to agree on, parentheses, other than TTU and the Attorney General.
Right.
Universities should not field players who have bet on their own team's games in college athletics. Ross Dellinger of Yahoo brings up an interesting point as well. He writes, quote, the Big 12's legal threat puts Brendan Sorsby in an interesting dilemma. Continue down this path, possibly subjecting Texas Tech to a Big 12 sanction by a potential federal injunction, or apply for the NFL supplemental draft. The application deadline is next Monday. However, Sorsby may not have access to the draft. The supplemental draft is normally reserved for players who are not eligible to play in college. For now, he is eligible to play in college, according to a Texas state court ruling. If he were ineligible, the NCAA's original ruling, Sorsby would have been eligible for the draft. He may now need an exception from the NFL.
Well, if they care about the kid, and this is what they're really trying to say, okay, let him go out there and play. Let him play. Because you want him to be a part of your team. You want him to go out there and participate with his team. Well, let him go play. And whatever they decide, if they want to penalize you, just take it. Because isn't it about the kid and not winning? It's about helping the kid.
So, in other words, let him play and then forfeit your
Exactly.
game.
And forfeit. Y'all went out there, y'all participated as a team.
Now, that would be an interesting angle.
But if you're really doing it, that's tongue in cheek. I know they'll never do that. But my thing is, and I've said this before, if you want to help this kid, let him be around the game. Let him be around the game. That's all you have to do. You don't have to let him play. But again, it shows you that those president and AD, they're not running Texas Tech. They're not. It's the boosters that are running Texas Tech because they try to bend themselves like a pretzel to try to justify this. And because they know good and well, like, I can't, when everybody sees it, it's hard to explain that it's opposite of what everybody sees and everybody knows. So the only reason you wouldn't is if somebody else have you over a barrel and saying you do this or I'm taking my money and run.
I think, but what the question that's now starting to surface that will be in the lap of Texas Tech is they've gone out on a limb here, but they're not gaining any ground in the court of public opinion. And so they're ultimately going to have to answer the question of, is this worth the trouble? Is the juice worth the squeeze, whatever that saying is? For 1 year, you're going to have this guy for 1 year max, and you got to live life after that as a school. There's all these things down the road. Is there going to be a super conference? Is Texas Tech going to be in there? Is the Big 12 going to want to kick them out of the league? Is that all worth it for this kid in this, when deep down you know that this is the rule? You can't have a society, you can't have an organization that it's okay to bet. That's what Charlie Baker, who is the leader of the NCAA, the former politician, he said, this case isn't about Brendan Sorsby. It's about everybody. We cannot have a precedent that's set that, hey, we'll look the other way, or, under the circumstances, if you gamble, you might be okay. You can't have that. That's just, you can't have that.
The NCAA today asked an appeals court for an expedited resolution before the season kicks off, according to ESPN. The NCAA asked the appeals court to adjudicate the case by August 28th, a day before the start of the college football season. The initial trial date was set for February after the college football playoff. The NCAA said, quote, the season will be over, the temporary relief will have become permanent, and the lawsuit will have delivered to Sorsby everything he sought, end quote. So we'll see what happens there. But a big step, a conference getting a little litigious with a member of its own conference.
So I wonder if by the time the season starts and, the first couple games are going on, if it's still unresolved in the courts, but there's still this huge mushroom cloud of backlash, I wonder, as the weeks are leading up to him actually becoming eligible, how that will play. Because I don't think anybody's going to change their mind. Nobody outside of Lubbock thinks he should be able to play.
He's playing. Not.
You think so?
If he is
You don't
eligible
think, you don't think they were under any circumstances they would pivot and say, you know what?
I don't know. I've
We
seen
understand.
some pretty shameless behavior from
I'm not
people
sure.
affiliated
So far.
with Texas Tech so
I'm
far.
not sure if the only way they will balk is if whoever, because either way he's suspended for 2 games.
Correct.
So the only way they don't decide to not play him is if the guy underneath center at the time, he shows enough where they believe they can win with
Do you think Sorsby will? The other way out to me is that Sorsby takes himself out and either goes to the supplemental draft or says, you know what, I just need to work on myself here. I need more. You don't think so?
Nah. Well, I mean,
If-
the supplemental,
maybe
yes.
Maybe under the table
Possibly.
too, Texas Tech says, look, the pressure is huge here. We're going to pay you.
But it sounds like it would have to happen fast if the supplemental draft
Yeah.
deadline is a week from now.
So that would have to
Yeah,
happen
right.
fast.
So it
And
may not
then-
be the supplemental.
Yeah, but this kid is not going to just, I don't think, because if that was going to happen, it would have happened already. This kid is not going to go through the courts and all this other stuff and then at the end say, I'm not going to do it. He's not. Somebody's going to have to tell him, you can't.
But do you think they expected this much of a backlash?
You had
Like,
to have.
they had to have
every
known.
single-
Literally,
They had to have
everybody
known.
Yes.
is ganging up on
Yes,
this now.
you
It is
had to have
truly
known.
them against the world.
Yes.
Why else would they have released a 21-minute
Exactly.
video?
You knew
It's unbelievable.
exactly.
Yeah.
They knew they were the only people in this area that was thinking this way.
But they did that with the idea, I think, naively.
Oh, it will
thinking-
blow over if we just
Well,
explain everything.
Yeah, I don't know if they thought it would blow over, but I think they probably thought, well, they'll get it if we get our message out, people will understand.
Wrong.
Nah, they couldn't.
They don't agree with you.
They couldn't. If nobody else is in that
They
pool
don't
playing
get
with
to the
them.
core issue. You cannot have players who have bet undisputedly on the game. That is the rule. That is the line. You cannot cross. You can't play.
615-737-1025. We'll take your thoughts on Brendan Sorsby. The story continues. Coming up next, I want to share my favorite part of the World Cup, and it has absolutely nothing to do with the actual matches on the pitch. That's the right term, right? The pitch. We will discuss that coming up next. 615-737-1025. Willy Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 1025. The Game.
All right, let's talk Loan Pronto. Credit card interest rates are very high these days. That's not a secret to anybody. And a lot of people, you're spinning your wheels. You're only making the minimum payments, or you're just not able to cut into that monthly budget the way you want to because that interest rate's so high. So you're really not getting anywhere. And a lot of homeowners also don't realize you can use the equity in your home to access thousands of dollars in cash to then address those big credit card bills or car payments or personal loans, an existing HELOC. And the rates are so much better through Loan Pronto that you're going to be on better financial footing month to month. That's the goal, because a lot of the customers for Loan Pronto can save $1,000 a month, $1,500 a month, $2,000 a month in some cases. And you can do all of this by your phone by just calling Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780, and ask about the rapid equity loan, or just go to loanpronto.com to get more details. No out-of-pocket costs, no hard credit pull up front, no appraisal, no long drawn-out bank process. And call again, 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, and MLSconsumeraccess.org.
everyone from?
Japan.
Hey, what do you think of America, of Texas?
Texas is good. Everything is big.
That about sums it up. Texas is good. Everything is big. There you go, Texas Chamber of Commerce, if you're looking for a refresh on your state slogan. Willy Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan here with you. The World Cup, of course, is underway. The U.S. men's national team laid the smackdown on Paraguay on Friday, a 4-1 win. That's the kind of soccer I like. Lots of goals.
Man, were they awesome, though, in that first half. Man, they came out smoking.
By the way, nearly 16 million viewers watched the game on Friday. Fox called it the, quote, most watched USMNT World Cup telecast in English language history. The U.S. team takes on Australia next on Friday in Seattle. But
It's the best I think I've ever seen a U.S. team look in a World Cup game. Just for me, the untrained eye, I don't know if anybody would differ. I don't know if they can keep it up. But as far as the skill, the playmaking, and it's not like Paraguay was a bunch of stiffs. Like looking at their world ranking, not that they are one of the best in the world, but they've been in the World Cup a bunch of times. They had to qualify in South America. There's a lot of great teams there to just win that one-sided. That was really encouraging. They put on a great show. A lot of the games have been great. Speaking of the Dallas, everything's big in Texas. Jameis Winston going through the big orange wave with the Dutch people, that was quite the visual, right? That was pretty cool. Jameis has dove right into this thing.
I also want to shout out the Japanese fans who pick up after themselves. They all bring trash bags and clean up their sections before they leave.
Isn't that nice?
We could learn something. We're a bunch of slobs here in the United States of America, and we're mostly proud of it. But we could use a lesson from the Japanese fans. And that's what I want to talk about, because to me, the best part of the World Cup so far has nothing to do with the actual matches. It's all of the people visiting our country and having their minds blown by our culture. Here is a sampling of the things I saw on social media over the weekend that made me laugh. The British couple who experienced the wonder of a New Jersey deli. If you've never been to a New Jersey deli, you're missing out. The British couple who experienced the wonder of a New Jersey deli. The Italian whose mind short-circuited upon learning about free refills.
Free refills.
Yes. The Swedish woman, she had a lot of followers, so I assume she's some sort of influencer. The Swedish woman who had, in her words, an out-of-body experience at Golden Corral.
At Golden Corral. Okay.
At Golden Corral. The little Norwegian boy who, let's say, became a man after having one bite of an In-N-Out burger. He did not make an M face or an N face or a P face, but think of a letter somewhere between M, N, and P. He made that sort of face after taking a bite of an In-N-Out burger. But I do want to mention my two favorites, and it involves Japan. The first was this tweet that went viral that was translated from Japanese into English, and I think it makes it better. Quote, to those heading to America for the World Cup, if there's a Texas Roadhouse near your hotel, head there immediately. It's a chain restaurant, but you can get the best cost performance steak. Especially the ribeye is the absolute best. I love the phrase cost performance steak.
In other words, it's cheap, but it's going to be bang for your buck.
Right. And you know what? No matter what you believe in, what side you're on, I think we can all agree Texas Roadhouse has a pretty damn good cost performance steak.
Especially in Texas, right? Because that's where they were playing, right? They were playing in Dallas.
Yes, right? I believe that is correct.
Yeah.
But this is the cost performance steak. I'm going to start using that term. But this was the post that got me. I was howling in laughter when I read this. And you know, in this day and age, you're never sure if things are being staged or not. I am going to take this post at its word. Quote, USA, a Mexican restaurant. We had not yet ordered anything, and the food was already arriving. Chips, salsa, unrequested, free. I stopped the waiter. We have not earned these. They just come with the table, man. They come with the table. In my land, hospitality is a debt. Every gift creates an obligation, weighed carefully, returned in the proper season with interest of feeling. Here, the gift arrives before you have even proven you can pay for dinner. This is not an appetizer. This is a declaration. We trust you. Eat. I ate with the gravity the moment deserved. And then I must report this calmly. The basket emptied and a new one appeared. Did we? ... Refill, the waiter said. It's bottomless. Bottomless. They have wells of salsa. The supply lines of this nation are beyond anything my ancestors imagined. My friend warned me. Don't fill up on chips, dude. Too late. I had accepted the 3 baskets. Honor demanded each one be finished. An unfinished gift is an insult. By the time my actual food arrived, I was a ruined man. I was not hungry. I was not comfortable. I had been defeated by a courtesy. And it goes on from there. But
That was beautiful.
USA. We're looking good in the eyes of the world
that's what I'm saying.
because we refill your chips
And
At
your
the
drinks.
restaurant for free.
And your drinks.
And your drink.
There have been multiple videos of Europeans just being gobsmacked. I don't know if that's the right word, by Walmart and Costco. Like just the sheer size of big box stores in the United States. Plenty of people as well have enjoyed the beauty of Buc-ee's, unlike Willy Donick over here.
I was wondering if you're going to bring up Buc-ee's.
Are you a Buc-ee's hater, Willie?
Not a hater.
He's a skeptic. He's
I'm
a Buc-ee's skeptic.
I
That's
just, I haven't felt the need to go. I just keep going.
But people are loving Buc-ee's. People are loving cost performance steaks at Texas Roadhouse. People are loving biscuits and gravy. I've seen it's mostly about food.
What a country.
But I'm sure you've seen Freddie, the random German dude who has gone viral on social media.
He's the man.
He has been traveling. He's been traveling. Where is Germany? Is Germany playing in Houston?
They're in Dallas.
Okay.
Are they in Dallas or Houston? I think it is Houston.
I think
It's one of the two.
because I think the Dutch were in Dallas.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Because that's where Jameis Winston was, and he was in the big sea of orange.
Germany, by the way, defeated Curacao 7-1
Right.
in
Well,
Houston.
But that was a great story. Curacao had never been in the World Cup. They're the smallest country to ever make it. And they give up a goal in the first 5 minutes. It's like, oh boy, this is going to be ugly, everybody. Curacao comes down and scores against Germany, who has won the World Cup 4 times. And it was like this huge moment. Like, are we going to see the upset of a lifetime here? And then Germany flexed a little bit, 7-1. But it was an interesting matchup. But Germany is always in contention.
But this German dude, Freddie, has been traveling the country to get to the game, and he's made a lot of friends along the way. Apparently, like JJ Watt set him up with like a suite in a hotel or something like that. And I haven't been following it all, so I may have my facts.
I need to meet Fred. or see Fred. I don't know about Freddie.
He's touring the Southeast, basically. Like he was at Death Valley and LSU the other day.
So what's his shtick? What's his angle? Just trying to
introduce
making
American
friends
culture?
along the way. Yeah.
Let's see. Freddie has 618,400 followers on Twitter. And he was just traveling the country. And here's the thing, too. Most people, when they come to the U.S. as a tourist, they go to New York, they go to L.A., they go to Washington. I think the beauty of this is these fans are traveling sort of the hidden wonders of our nation.
Right. Like you used the example last week. Spain was training in Chattanooga.
Correct.
Before driving down to Atlanta for their game today,
Yes.
which is also one we got to mention what happened to them. That was amazing.
Yes. So to me, that's been the best part. Just seeing people experience our country and enjoy all of the things that we take for granted. Like the Japanese man said, there is no number of baskets of unlimited chips and salsa I would refuse. The trust of a nation is in that salsa, and I intend to honor all of it. So just think about that the next time you go to a Mexican restaurant and you're just chomping down on chips and they just keep coming. It's not like that everywhere. People don't experience that everywhere.
I have experienced having too many chips where you feel like, because they do fill you up and you're like, wait a minute, my food just came, like I ate too many chips. just because you can't stop.
And you were
sometimes.
uncomfortable.
I was a little uncomfortable. So,
So-
I understand what this guy's saying. If you've never seen that before, man, that's got to hit you like a ton of bricks.
He's had some other posts as well, but that to me was the one that was most relatable. The bottomless chips and salsa, because we've all been there. We've, as Willie just said, we have all eaten our fill and ruined our dinners, but it's not like that everywhere. It is considered a luxury. Scott in Shelbyville says, I can see it now. A show on remote live at the new Buc-ee's in Murfreesboro when it opens. We shall make Willie go. I mean, I would do it. And you know me, I don't love leaving Davidson County very often, but I will if it means going to Buc-ee's and being there for Willie to experience.
If the show goes there, then I will partake.
We should get him to learn how to make us a brisket.
Yes.
Brisket on the board.
Brisket on the board, indeed. You mentioned Spain. Let's quickly talk about that game, because it was a 0-0 draw,
right?
But it was considered a shocking result.
Right. So if you're just a casual fan, you might look at the score and say, well, 0-0. Oh, that's why I don't like soccer, man. 0-0. But the context of this one, we mentioned Curacao, just an enormous underdog against Germany. The fact that they scored and tied it at 1, and until about 40 minutes into the game, you're thinking, are we going to see something really special here in terms of an upset? That didn't happen. But today, Cape Verde, which I had to really rack my brain. I'm quizzing. My son and I are going, okay, where is Cape Verde? Is it an island in Central America? And then we did reason back and forth. We're like, it's in Africa, but it's a tiny country. And they're playing Spain, the favorite, one of the top 2 or 3 favorites to win the whole thing. Spain was expected to win by 5 goals or more. I don't know if we could find a prop bet on what you would have. I did see one person bet $1 million on Spain to win, with the idea that, you know, it might have only made like $85,000 or something, but they were so sure. But Cape Verde tied Spain, and it was amazing to watch. It was like just put up a fortress in front of the goal. They weren't even worried if they got to the other end of the field. They were just like, let's just see if we can keep them from scoring. And their goalie made a bunch of saves. The goalie is apparently 40 years old for Cape Verde. And they got 1 shot in the game. 1. And it was at the end of the game with the score tied, and the guy nearly headed a corner kick in. If that had gone in, that would have been, by far, according to what the announcer was saying, it would have been the biggest upset in World Cup history. And just the fact that they tied Spain was miraculous. I don't know what the wagering was, but I'm sure there's some wacky bets out there. Just even if you said Cape Verde to tie, I'll bet you made a lot of money.
Cape Verde has a smaller population than Nashville.
Is that right?
Yes. If these estimates are correct, the population of Cape Verde is 529,630. The estimated population of Nashville in 2025 was 721,074. So a nation that is smaller than our city tied the favorite in the World Cup.
Just to get to the World Cup was a huge accomplishment for Cape Verde. To among the African nations, you know how they do it. There's a certain amount, and they have expanded the field, so there's a few more of these stories. But that was amazing that happened. The announcers were going nuts. They blocked so many shots, like just throwing themselves in front of the ball to do it, and Spain just couldn't figure out how to get one in.
They'll make a movie about it.
Well,
they might.
Movie.
It depends on how far Cape Verde goes.
They
If
don't
that's
need
the
to go
best,
too much.
if
They don't
that's
need
the
to go
best
far.
the country does, I don't know if we'll hear about them again. 615-737-1025. That's all I say. Look, we all have our differences in this country, but just remember, not everybody has the luxury of New Jersey delis and bottomless chips and salsa and unlimited refills. Just remember that. And that's what makes this country so great. 615-737-1025. Coming up next. Tomorrow is the start of Titans mandatory minicamp. Tomorrow and Wednesday before the Titans disperse until training camp. And I've got a question that on its face is so ridiculous, but we do have to ask it coming up next. 615-737-1025. Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 1025 The Game. DMase, Vingen, and Donick, 1025. The Gang, Willie Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingen, Connie, the two-toned kitty cat, with you. I'm going to make it stick, Connor. Connie, the two-toned kitty cat.
Was hoping it wouldn't make it out of the weekend. But
Well, I will tell you this. You can blame Parker Kelly, because if not for Parker, I wouldn't have known about it. Because when he sent the rundown from Next Man Up last week, he made a note for me about your nickname. He said, you might want to look out for this, Adam. So I went back and I listened to find Connie, the two-toned kitty cat. So you can blame Parker for this next time you see him.
I just call you Connie Two-Tone.
that's even worse.
No, I
somehow.
like
Now,
867-5309.
I was about to say, is
Connie
Connie
Two-Tone.
related to
Tommy
to
Two-Tone.
Tommy?
Yeah, could be his brother.
or Jenny.
That sounds like some like early 80s.
Exactly.
You're
yeah.
warm.
Tommy Two-Tone, indeed.
Yeah.
867-5309.
That's right.
There you go.
I got your number on the wall.
Oh, man. All right. So, speaking of Connie, he will be out at mandatory minicamp for the Tennessee Titans tomorrow and Wednesday. The last time we will see the Titans on the field until training camp in about a month and a half. And if you've been listening to our show or any of the shows on our station or consuming any Titans coverage over the past couple of weeks, you know that the number one story in Titans world is Cam Ward and his lackluster performance in open OTA practices, those that could be attended by reporters. And we talked a lot about it last week. We talked about his accuracy. We brought up the standard stats. We brought up the fancy stats. We've been doing a lot of, as I said last week, belly aching regarding Cam Ward's accuracy and his performance in practices. So as ridiculous as this question sounds, I do feel the need to ask it. And I want y'all's reaction, 615-737-1025. And again, as I read it, I'm thinking to myself, this is such a silly question. How much pressure is on Cam Ward at Titans mandatory minicamp this week? I feel like I can't recall a player being under this much pressure. Maybe it happened to Will Levis. I don't know. But considering what the conjecture is out there, Willie and Derek, I feel like Cam Ward needs to have the practices of his life tomorrow and Wednesday. So as silly as this sounds, how much pressure is on Cam Ward this week in practice?
Wow. I don't think there's no pressure.
I
on him.
think there's some pressure.
I think it's just about him getting better, him going out there and improving on the day before or improving on last week. Now he has more of his guys out there, the whole team, frankly, or should be. And maybe it's a little different with having those guys out there. And maybe the emphasis is a little bit different for Cam going into those few practices they're going to have this week. So I don't necessarily think there's any pressure on him. I think the scrutiny is always going to be there, especially with, being with this franchise and trying to revitalize this franchise and him having a season that he had last year on top of, there are some people that felt they should have passed on him and did some other things. So there's always going to be that there. But as far as like mini camp, no, I mean, there's no pressure whatsoever.
I think it would go under the category, and you tell me if you disagree, Adam, of noise. And so my question would be, internally, is he individually feeling any pressure? Are the coaches feeling any pressure of how it looks? Because it really shouldn't, because it is noise, right? It's, that's why you practice in the off season. It doesn't count. It doesn't matter. You're working on stuff. The results shouldn't mean anything. It's all about the process. So do you think it's noise? Or do you think it's anything real? I think it's only noise, in my opinion.
I think it's mostly noise, but I do think there is merit to the concerns about his accuracy. Just because last season, we've gone through it. We've looked at the numbers. We talked about his completion percentage last week with the help of Pro Football Focus. We broke it down even more into categories such as uncatchable and accurate and catchable and accurate. We've really run the gamut on it. I do think it's mostly noise, but the reason why I do think there is actually a little pressure on Cam Ward in these practices is because this is the last impression he is going to leave us with for what, 6 weeks? And if Cam Ward struggles the way he reportedly has struggled in OTA practices, it's going to reach a fever pitch between now and the start of training camp. Because look, we've all got to fill time, right? We've got to talk about something. And that's going to keep coming up. So I do think I mostly agree with you, Willie. I do think it's mostly noise. But I do think there's a modicum, I think that's worthy of a bell.
Yeah.
A modicum of what's the word I'm looking for? I think I think there are some reasons for fans to be concerned.
No, there shouldn't be. Why?
Why shouldn't there be reason?
There shouldn't be reason. Again, I'm just going to explain it like this. It's a new playbook, new players he's adjusting. If we get into camp and he still have these same problems, or if they haven't gotten better, then yes, we can start that sort of windmill up. We can start it up, or that engine up. We can crank it a little bit. But right now, no. I am just telling you, nobody in that building, from players to GMs to coaches, nobody's worried about it. Nobody. Do they want him to get better? Absolutely. They want him to develop within his offense. Absolutely. But nobody's sitting here in the dark room panicking. Nobody. And if they are, they don't need to have that. They don't need to have that job.
I think that is the most important thing.
Mm-hmm.
If they are in that building and they're sitting there going, well, let's run some plays so Cam looks good, so the media and the fans don't get on our butt, then that's a problem. That's counterproductive. Their sole focus should be, how do we get Cam better today, regardless of how the practice goes or what the results are. You're working on stuff. That we had a saying. I feel like it's a historian, one of our founding fathers may have said this. I don't know. But there's an old saying that my coach used when he would send us off for the summer. He would say, there's going to come a point where winter is going to ask what you were doing all summer. You have the right, I think, as a player, to work behind the scenes on your game without the scrutiny. That's what the off season is for, is you work on stuff that you're weak at. You work on your weaknesses. And in doing so, you're probably not going to look good every day. So you shouldn't be held to a standard in June. So I will stand by that. Even if he is awful this week, I'm not going to worry about it at all. I'm not going to blink at all. I will stay consistent if he struggles this week.
By the way,
it doesn't mean anything.
That quote, the time will come when winter will ask you what you were doing all summer, attributed to Henry Clay.
Hey,
Yes.
okay, yeah, that's the Henry Clay.
The very same.
The great compromise.
So let me ask
me, a history major from the state of Kentucky.
Let me ask the two of you this question then, because the both of you sound like you are not at all concerned at the moment, and his performance in practice tomorrow and Wednesday will have no bearing on your feelings as we await training camp later this summer. At what point will you begin to feel concerned if things don't get better?
For me, it's camp. More importantly, it's once they start playing these, other teams coming in.
That's exactly what I thought when I thought about this question.
Yeah,
joint practices.
Joint practices. Yeah,
if Cam Ward has some rough joint practices,
then there's like, okay,
you can't escape it at that point.
Yes,
you can't escape it. Now, is he going to have? He's going to do some things in those joint practices, just like a game that, hey, the defense played well or you read it wrong. But if it's the accuracy issue, if we're still having trouble with him completing balls or being accurate, or overthrowing balls, then that's when you need to start to be concerned about what's moving forward. But even if he doesn't complete a pass or two, I'm not worried about that, because whether it was a drop or whatnot, he's trying to throw it in coverage. But if he's shown that he hasn't gotten better by then, as far as his accuracy, because that's the whole thing with him, then yes, I think there is room for you to start critiquing and criticizing and wondering if he is getting better.
I will extend it this far. I expect there to be growing pains in the regular season. Rookie number 1 wide receiver, first splash into the league. You're trying to continue to develop your offensive line.
An unknown at center, specifically.
Right. There are still question marks, even though they've made some strides there, and hopefully it won't be bad. New offensive coordinator, second-year quarterback. I just think if we think all of a sudden the light's going to go on and everything's great from the start, I think that's overly optimistic. I'm expecting there to be growing pains. I'm hoping, realistically, that by the end of the season, if they can keep it together, that it won't look like a gasoline fire anymore, that you're going to start to see the foundation of a good offense. That's reasonable to me. But from what we've seen from Cam so far, I just think it's unrealistic that he's just going to have this magical leap and all of a sudden look good. He's growing slowly. It's going to be a process. It's going to take a while.
It may even take the full summer. I mean, not the full summer, but the full season.
It might.
And what I mean is not that, if he's still doing the same things that he was doing last year, if he's doing that to year 2, and at the end of the season, you look at it, it's like, okay. But what I'm saying is you got to take into account he's learning a new playbook. Even with the playbook that he had, it still took him half the season to get through that and to feel comfortable, and they had to change some things around it. So fast forward that the next following year, you got a whole new playbook. So even if you get into the season, it's going for him to master this thing the way I know he wants. It's going to take a full year. But he can play well within that.
Well,
but in order to master this, it's going to take him a full year.
Let me ask you a question, which may come off as a novice sort of question. How much of learning a new playbook plays into accuracy generally? Like,
it's the hesitation.
Okay.
A lot of times. That's just like just like me as a receiver. If I don't know the playbook the way I need to, I'm hesitating. I'm not sure about what I'm doing out there. That's why, don't think, just go. You shouldn't know the playbook so well that you ain't even got to. You hear the play, boom. It's just, the minute you step out there on the line of scrimmage, you know what to do. Now you're just reading the defense. And if you know defenses, now you just like, okay, I'm going. It's almost like your own autopilot in a sense, because your body, it does it so many times and you know it so well, you know exactly what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. So it does mean a lot, when a guy knows that playbook like the back of his hand. That gives him the freedom to do a lot of other things. That gives him a freedom to possibly take chances too, because he's reading the defense in such a way and he knows how this play is going to work.
615-737-1025. Again, as ridiculous as this question sounds, how much pressure is on Cam Ward at Titans mandatory minicamp this week? The story of OTAs has been his inaccuracy, and there is going to be an even harsher spotlight on Ward these next couple of days because of that. So how important is it for him to leave us feeling good about his progress before the Titans break up before training camp? 615-737-1025. We'll take your reaction and continue the conversation coming up next. Willy Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 1025 The Game. DMase, Vingan, and Donick 1025. The Game. Willy, Donick, Derek, Mason, Adam, Vingan here with you. Talking some Titans. Mandatory minicamp this week. As ridiculous as this question sounds, how much pressure is on Cam Ward at minicamp this week? 615-737-1025. This is the last impression he can make for all of us until the Titans return for training camp late July. One texter says, please tell me this is not a long-term problem with the hurt shoulder. I am panicking. I have been afraid since he got hurt.
I don't even think this is about the hurt shoulder at all. They wouldn't have put him out there if they felt that, he was still feeling some type of effects from the shoulder surgery. So I don't think this has anything to do with the shoulder surgery. He just needs to get better. And I think he will, and I say that because I saw him the first half of last season and compared to the second half, and that, listen, he ain't set the world on fire, but he showed progress. He showed development. And I'm just expecting that to be the same case, this season. And I know it may take some time because, again, he's not coming in with the same playbook that he had last year. But even with that, I expect him to go out there and be better as these days, go on with the other guys, not just this week, but when they come back for camp.
Dustin in Hopkinsville says, I'd purposely throw a puck on every throw. Tell us to STFU without saying a word. That's me, though. Something tells me Cam Ward doesn't really care about what we have to say, as you two have mentioned. But, I mean, again, the noise is out there. Scott in Waverly says, do you guys think maybe our defense is just that good under Robert Saleh to make Cam look bad? Well, here's the issue, Scott. I don't know how many of the Titans' defensive starters have been out there. For example, we have told y'all to pump the brakes on Carnell Tate when Carnell Tate was making one-handed grabs at OTAs. We've been quick to point out that Micah Robinson has been the defender guarding Carnell Tate on those plays. Not Cordell Flott, not Alante Taylor, Micah Robinson. So I don't think many of the projected starters, and someone who reports on the team can correct me, I don't think many of them have been on the field, which I think makes this look worse. Like Cam Ward is having accuracy issues playing against second teamers.
But that goes into and look, you're under the microscope as the number one pick playing for the NFL team in this city. And all of the beat writers are doing their job. They know that there's interest and they're reporting what they're seeing. But I still think you have to separate that. I'm old enough to have grown up to where I didn't watch a single play of the offseason of the teams I followed growing up. So it wasn't even something that I was reading about or looking at. And ask yourself in the fantasy football, when you draft your fantasy football team, do you draft anyone based on how they did in the preseason or how they did in OTAs? I don't think so. Like spring training, I don't really take that into account unless there's an injury involved. So you have to put it in perspective. They're covering it, but I go back to, this is the workshop. This is when you work on your weaknesses. This is not about results at all. So I'm not going to read it. I don't worry about whether he's struggling or not, no matter what the circumstance.
David says, if this continues, you have to question the shoulder. Well, do you?
No, because this was not one of his strong suits last year.
Accuracy,
yes.
No matter how you quantify it.
Yeah, it wasn't we didn't sit here and say, man, listen, he just need more players because he's damn sure accurate. No, he's been off. So I don't think it has anything to do with the shoulder. Now, if he complains about the shoulder moving forward, then okay, we got to reevaluate it. But I don't think it has anything to do with the shoulder. I just think he has to really take this time of the year to really work on. It's not about, how fast can we get everything, 100%. It's about really working on those small things that are ultimately going to allow you to be better moving forward. Accuracy is, it's not a small thing, but the mechanics to it, how you throw certain routes, getting in repetition, throwing certain routes to certain guys. Them going out and getting Carnell Tate, I will tell you this, at least when it comes to Carnell Tate, he will be a much better accurate passer throwing to a bigger body. He may have trouble when you're talking about throwing deep to a Wan'Dale Robinson, a guy that's smaller. Now, when you're talking about the quick plays, he thrives in that. I think that's where he lands. But if you're saying we need to get down the field more, then I'm not to say he's not going to be able to hit Wan'Dale Robinson, but it's going to be a little bit different than throwing to Carnell Tate.
Jerry says, too many built-in excuses. New system, new coach, new players. If you can't throw the ball straight, you can't throw the ball straight. Of course, I'm not an NFL player, but as someone who coached high-level travel softball, a player that can't throw the ball straight in practice can't throw the ball straight in the game, and timing does go along with it. If you have a catcher practicing throw downs to second, she needs to know where that shortstop is going to be. But if your catcher can't throw the ball on the bag, then you're going to need a new catcher.
I respect that. Like, it's the process is important. The mechanics are important, but I think there's just a lot more going on with what Cam Ward is doing. He's absorbing his new personnel, the new coach, the new playbook, all of these things. And so I think that would be a factor, at least in my mind, of how he's throwing. But I do think it's important to know, is his shoulder feeling good? Are his mechanics affected by the process he went through with the physical therapy? How's the footwork? Because I know they're working on that as well as teaching him the new playbook. All this to say, this is another reason why I'm not worried about the results right now. He's still going through a lot with all of these variables that are out there. Like, if you just set up the drill of catcher throwing the ball down to second, whatever the equivalent of that is for a quarterback, to me, that's a different drill than how is he doing in the live scrimmage part.
I look at it like this. Yes, the accuracy thing needs to get better. I get it. But here's the issue. When you're watching a game, and we've seen this plenty of times, especially with a new wide receiver come in or a new quarterback comes in, say the old quarterback, he got hurt or something, and you see a pass off, you say, man, he was just off. He doesn't have enough time with those guys, so he was off, a little bit behind them, or the receiver just thinking that, well, he doesn't know the receiver quite well. So if you see that in the game with a guy that, yeah, he's gotten some repetition with these guys, but not in this setting, you don't tend to say that guy is inaccurate. He's not an accurate passer. What you say is, or at least what I hear a lot is, oh, he was a tad bit off. If it's a new wide receiver or a new quarterback coming into the game. That's how I look at Cam. These are new guys. He's still learning the guys that he was throwing to last year. And now he got to reacquaint himself with Calvin Ridley. And he has to get to know Wan'Dale Robinson as well as Carnell Tate. He's going to be off because of that. Now, again, it's going to take repetition. That's why between now and really camp is going to be critical for him, meaning he's going to have to get time with these guys, as much time as humanly possible. And I've said this before. If Cam say, let's wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and go throw footballs and catch them, let's do it. Because that time we're not getting. And that time's going to help us down the line. That means that now when we wasn't getting those extra, 100 hours, we got them and some. And that means a lot when you get in situations where you got to think on the run. A lot of that comes into play. How many times that I've thrown the best rapport I had with anybody was Neil O'Donnell. That's the best. You know why? Because Neil O'Donnell and I, before I became a starter, and even after, he and I worked. We worked constantly. Mac and I had that same thing, but it started with Neil because we worked at it every day in practice. Him throwing it to me and him being on the second team. It worked a lot. And then once he finally got in the game, when Mac got hurt, he and I picked up. He would just say, go out there. It's just like practice. And bam, 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 bam. That's how it was. Go back and look at the film. Me and Neil had a rapport. he's going to have to, and Mac an idea too, but he's going to have to build that with all those guys now. And he doesn't have it right now.
I thought this was interesting analysis from our friend Nick Suss of the Tennessean, and I want your guys' opinion on it. He writes, quote, accuracy wasn't Ward's strong suit as a rookie when he ranked 23rd among the 26 quarterbacks who started 10 or more games in on-target throw percentage, despite also ranking 21st in intended air yards per attempt. In other words, Ward wasn't particularly accurate in 2025, even while attempting easier than average throws. He continues, if Ward's more accurate in minicamp, great, but that's always been too broad a criticism. The real marker of growth is how Ward's accuracy improves as play difficulty increases. This means less of a focus in minicamp on down-to-down precision and more of a focus on ball placement on high leverage plays.
Yeah, because he was off a few times, well, more than a few times last year.
We talked a lot about his inaccuracy on deep passes.
Yes, and in particular, it was the corner routes.
Yes, if I recall correctly.
I thought there was 2 corner routes I know that he threw to DK, and he was just off. And you're looking at it, you're thinking, well, is it the receiver or is it the quarterback? Well, he had problems throwing it on that side as well as the left side, but it was more prominent on the right side. So those are things that he needs to work at. Once he if he can hit them more frequently, because those plays are going to be there. They're going to design plays where they're open deep corners. He has to be able to do that with his eyes closed.
I love, like, Nick is really good in particular. I'm giving him a pat on the back. He's coming up with these angles of where the improvement needs to be. And I think that these are the questions to me. But how you get from where he is to where he needs to be, I'm not worried about how it looks every day, if that makes sense. It's still the same thing to me. All of these things are great, and we're going to talk about these things, but I'm not going to stress, because I think anytime you're trying to get better at something, when it doesn't count, when the results don't matter, you have to be willing to take a step back for a period of time before you take the 2 or 3 steps forward, right? That's the whole point of practice and working away from the game.
Cam Ward last season, according to Pro Football Focus, on deep left passes. So passes that traveled at least 20 yards in the air down the left sideline. He was 7 of 20. Deep right, he was 8 of 22. So those were 2 areas we focused on a lot last season, that when he would take those deep shots, he missed more often than not. 615-737-1025. Again, our question, as ridiculous as it sounds, how much pressure is on Cam Ward at mandatory minicamp this week? Connor, you will be out at minicamp, correct?
Yes, not tomorrow, Wednesday.
Okay, so we'll get your practice report on Wednesday. We'll definitely have someone on the show tomorrow who will be at practice, I should say, tomorrow, to get their report on what we saw or what we will see from Cam Ward. Tenses are hard. 615-737-1025. We'll wrap up the show coming up next. Willy Donick, Derek Mason, Adam Vingan, 1025 The Game. DMase, Vingen and Donick, 102.5 The Game. I feel like I'm in the club. Is this you're doing, Derek Mason?
Yeah, this is the FIFA World Cup theme. It's the album. So
Okay.
I went with the album.
So we're getting the vibe of the
the
games.
World Cup,
Yeah.
man. Come on now. They should.
Bring it
Future
in.
was first. Y'all didn't see the, when it came out for the
I thought that's what
yeah.
I felt the vibe. I didn't
Yeah.
know that it was you though. I thought it might be young Connor Newt. that was
No,
cooking.
I just
No, this
I was like,
This is
See,
my
cutting
style.
edge. Cutting edge.
cutting edge. There we go.
I like that. Who's up tomorrow with the music? Am I up tomorrow?
Adam
tomorrow?
Adam Vingen,
I'm up tomorrow.
and then me, and then you. So you'll have it Thursday.
Okay. I'll be prepared.
Maybe we'll be angsty tomorrow. I don't know.
You usually are.
Well, last week I wasn't angsty with my selections of music from Hampton Roads, Virginia.
Right.
Missy Elliott isn't angsty. Timbaland isn't angsty.
Fair.
Bruce Hornsby isn't angsty. But
Definitely not.
So yes, it's a good vibe. It's a good vibe. As I said, the best part of the World Cup to me is just all of these people coming to our country, experiencing our culture, our gluttonous culture. That's mostly what it's been about. Europeans being like, wait, Americans eat all of this stuff? It's so great. But again, to me, actually, the thing I've enjoyed the most, the Japanese fans who clean up after themselves. They all bring trash bags to the matches. And when the match is over, they pick up their garbage. It's
stunning.
It's incredible. I mean, we could learn something. We need to pick up after ourselves more often. But
I feel like I pick out for myself, but I would never bring a bag to collect. Like I just grab the stuff and find a trash can, right?
Yeah.
They're bringing bags in there?
I believe they're bringing trash
Wow.
bags. I'm going to make
Going
sure
the extra mile.
I'm going to make sure that I'm not telling fibs here
Mhm.
on the radio. Yes, they bring their own trash bags.
That's good.
They're functional trash bags. Everyone brings them to cheer during and clean up after themselves after.
Wow. I think every football stadium should do that.
I mean,
Provide the bags?
Yeah, just provide provide the bags or put the bag on the seat. And just when you're done, boom, throw it in the bag and leave it there. I think that'd be great.
I mean, Titans fans who are wearing paper bags over their heads after the game is over can take the paper bag off of their head.
I didn't go there.
Pick up the trash. Pick up the trash. So that's, as I've said, that's what I've enjoyed most about the World Cup. Just seeing everybody from abroad coming to America and experiencing our culture. But then, Derek, during a break, you shared a frightening story.
Oh, yeah.
About something that like triggered something in me that hammers home the reason why I will never in my life go bungee jumping. Ever.
Yes. So there was this 21-year-old individual, female, and she was going bungee jumping. And they forgot, and you could see the guys picking her up and walking her to the cliff. It was like a plank. Just imagine a plank. Get on the plank. But they're walking through the plank, and they have this lady held up in the sky. There's three of them and then two. And no one noticed that there was no attachment to this young lady. And just casually, they just threw her over.
This was captured on social
wow,
media,
yes,
by the way.
Oh my god!
Have nightmares
How?
about this.
Like how? Like, and I keep asking myself, like how? Because
From so many angles.
yes,
how?
because you see it from different angles. The person with the camera, how didn't you see?
Are you not screaming?
Exactly.
She's
Are
not
you-
attached to the
yes.
rope.
Are you not? Because you see it, and then the third guy in the back. Once you sort of release your grip, because there's two other people that have a grip on her. Once you release your grip and step down, don't you see that there isn't a rope attached to her? It's baffling.
And if you're going to go bungee jumping, which you know is dangerous to begin with,
Yes.
aren't you like, I won't do it. I'm not going to be bungee jumping anytime soon.
No. Mm-mm.
But if I did, I would
I would make sure that
I would have
cord
my
was on
thing
me.
double checking, triple checking, like double knot tight. Like,
Goodness.
am I on this thing? I'm checking to make sure that rope is, or the bungee is intact. Like, I need to know all of that before I have the confidence to do it. But what, like, it's inexplicable how that happened.
It was,
And somebody's filming it.
And that's the part that I don't understand. Somebody's filming it.
They're not noticing. You can
And
see
you
the
don't-
rope right there.
exactly.
It's not anywhere close to her.
Oh man, to even think about it more, it just makes me like,
terrible.
oh wow.
And
So
then-
yes,
The
There's-
BBC says police are now investigating whether the men are culpable of homicide with eventual intent when someone does not have the direct intention but assumes the risk of killing.
man, something.
Talk about
it's
litigious.
Something's fishy.
Lawyer up.
Something is fishy. Man, that's
No,
terrible.
No, I
Whew.
have zero interest in bungee jumping. I have zero interest in skydiving. You've been skydiving, right?
Yes,
Derek?
that was on my bucket list, and
Yeah.
I went for
No,
my
thank you.
son's 21st birthday. He wanted
Pass.
to go. So all three of us, my son, my daughter, we all jumped out of a plane, skydive. And it was fun.
I would
It really
skydive
was. It was
before I
fun.
bungee jumped.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
Yeah. Okay. I would. That's why I skydove
Yeah.
first.
I mean, you did it. So
Yes.
obviously your answer is that.
Yes.
But
But I
So the
would
past
never.
2 shows, Derek has scared us into going on roller coasters and now bungee jumping.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's next?
We'll find out tomorrow. Now, I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly. We do have a caller on the line. Hawkin has called in to discuss Japanese soccer based on how great I think it is that Japanese fans pick up after themselves. Hawkin, if that is indeed your name, please go ahead. Thank you for calling.
Yeah, that's my name. Yeah. I'm a dentist down here in Brentwood, and I've been here for like 35 years, but I'm originally from Sweden. But the first time I heard about the Japanese soccer players was they had the World Cup in the Middle East. I can't remember exactly where it was, but the fans, they bring these plastic bags, the spectators, and after the game, they clean up the entire stadium.
See,
And
that's
I
fantastic.
also heard the players, they clean up the locker room, they fold the towels, and they make these little figures out of paper. I think it's called origamis.
Yes,
and
origami.
thank the organizers for organizing the World Cup for them, and they were extremely appreciative of the whole setup. And another thing was, I think last time they were in Middle East, they banned beer sales 2 weeks before the game, and I believe there was 32 countries that participated, and 31 countries complained about the beer being out of reach for the spectators, and the Japanese were the only ones that didn't complain.
They're like,
Thank you for the call, Hawkins.
We're here to play and watch soccer. We ain't here to drink beer.
I have developed a greater appreciation for Japanese culture since the World Cup started late last week.
they played a heck of a game
Mhm.
too in Dallas with this army of orange Dutch fans, and the Netherlands, great tradition. They're really good. They fell behind twice. That was a really good game, 2-2. There's been some really good games. I am captivated by this. I'm all in.
No, Willie's all in. We know you're not all in now.
Spain's freaking out about tying Cape Verde today. That
They're
I've
still
noticed.
talking
The
about
talk
it.
shows in Spain, they're not happy. They're not happy. about
Do
that.
they have Spanish sports talk radio?
I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure they do.
It's Telemundo.
There you go.
That is true.
I do have this question though, based on the very eye-opening performance by the U.S. on Friday.
Mm,
16 million viewers.
yes.
16 million viewers, and so in the spotlight, and they had struggled some going into the tournament. They look great. Does that bring an audience in? What will it be for the next game?
They
Well,
play at 2 p.m. on Friday in Seattle against Australia.
Do you think that's going to, at least at the beginning of the game, the ratings may not be where but
Yeah,
after
2 o'clock. It
around
might
the-
be
Yeah, not
hard.
prime time
around
by
the
any
3
stretch.
o'clock, 4 o'clock, it may pick up around 3 o'clock. 3, 4. it may
I'm
pick up.
curious, but I feel like there'll be a lot of hype going to that. If they win, that would almost assure them of moving to the next round, right?
Which was the expectation anyway, right?
Sure. It's not about that anymore. It's can they ever make a deep run
Yeah.
into deep into the tournament? I don't know if I don't think they've ever made the final 4, have they?
No.
I think the final 8 is the highest they've ever gone.
That sounds right. If our resident soccer expert, Nick Frazier, is listening, we
Help
will
us
get
out.
a text message from Frazier. I mean, look, I now that the NBA is done for the season and the NHL is done for the season, for me, it's slim pickings out there.
Dive in
It's
and
slim
take the
pickings.
angle you've taken. Just appreciate the
Sport.
environment
Yes.
and the fans, the chanting, the nuttiness, the clash of all these people from all around the world coming in to enjoy it. It's a great event.
Did y'all see the duck walking down the street in Mexico wearing a Mexico soccer kit?
It was awesome.
I did not.
I did either.
An actual duck walking
Well,
down the
and
street.
who was the other person? The German guy what's his name again?
Freddie.
Freddie. I don't know about
Yeah,
that.
you got to look up
Freddie
Freddie.
and the duck.
Freddie discovered
Freddie
canes.
is not the duck.
I said
Fre-
Freddie and the duck.
Oh, Freddie
Freddie
and the duck.
and the duck.
Sounds like a
a band.
an 80s
And the Japanese garbage collectors and the connoisseurs of unlimited chips and salsa.
Yes.
The concept and refills of your drink.
Yes.
They all sound like groups.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, Freddie
80s bands.
Freddie had Raisin Canes. I won't go much further because I don't want to disparage Raisin Canes. I've had better. I've had better.
The conversation can be interesting when you're watching a soccer game because it's not much like it's not like they're screaming goal every 10 seconds. But the conversations do get interesting.
The problem
they may draw you in.
I mean, the problem is the tickets are just absurd. The prices people are paying to go to these games. If you thought, they're not Knicks games 3 and 4 at Madison Square Garden, but they are expensive. So, the average fan is being priced out of these games, but
Yet the demand for tickets is
It's high.
really good, right?
yeah,
The crowds have been great.
I'm going to spend this time catching up on all of the shows I haven't watched because I've been watching sports too much.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Okay, what's on your list? The summer list.
I've been meaning to watch. I think it's out. I've been meaning to watch, the Untold Netflix series. That was
There's some
you know,
good ones
the
there, yeah.
Johnny Manziel, the Manti Te'o, and Lene Kakua, and all that stuff. There's one recently on the Jailblazers, the Portland
Right.
Trailblazers.
I haven't seen
Oh,
that
it's
one.
good.
Yes,
You'll like it.
That's a good one, huh?
Yeah, it's a good. one.
I need to watch that.
Watch Cape Fear too.
I'm not into scary things. It sounds scary.
It wasn't really scary. I mean, it's a series on Apple, but it's the old, Robert De Niro Cape Fear.
Mm.
So it
Oh
basically,
man, that was a movie that was good.
Psychological.
Maybe I'll follow Willy's lead and get into Euphoria.
You can watch Love Island,
Mm,
the new one.
I think I've aged out of Love Island.
I tried to, I just can't do it. I seriously tried to the other day because, like you said, it wasn't really anything going, but I just couldn't do it.
I will tell you, I am very excited for a show that is premiering on HBO in a week and a half. Life, Larry, and the Pursuit of Unhappiness. It's a show featuring Larry David, and it's produced by Barack and Michelle Obama. It's an improvised comedic approach to major events in American history in celebration of the 250th anniversary of the United States.
That one is.
That's right up my alley.
Is it a comedy? It's supposed to be a comedy.
It is well, if it's Larry David
Yeah,
is
it's a
involved,
comedy. It's a comedy.
it's going to be a comedy. So
Comedic.
that is something I'm looking
I
forward to.
did go see Disclosure Day this weekend.
And
My son and I.
how was that?
That was pretty good. I can't really say it was good because I can't really say they give the movie away very quickly, which I don't like in movies. I like for it to hold on to it for a while and build up. But it was a good movie, to say the least.
My father dragged me to He-Man yesterday.
How was it? I want to go see it.
It's good.
Uh-huh.
I didn't grow up with it like
See, you ain't
like
really
you two did.
appreciate it,
So
yeah.
and maybe Adam too. I don't know. Did you watch He-Man growing up, Adam?
I did
No.
not. I never got into that.
Okay.
I am going to have my man I'm old moment this weekend when I take my 4.5-year-old son to see Toy Story 5. Because
Yeah, that'd be good.
I remember when I went to see Toy Story 1 in 1995 when I was the tender age of 6. So it's going to be a full circle moment when I can take my son to the movie theater.
That should be fun.
Yes.
Mortal Kombat. You see that, Connor?
I saw the first one.
I will
haven't
not be
seen the second.
taking.
the
I
new
will
one
not
that
be
just came
taking
out?
my
Yeah.
4.5-year-old son to be more.
No.
visit Mortal
No. Mortal Kombat. It's on Netflix. Not Netflix. It's on one of-
HBO.
Yeah,
I
it's
think.
on one of them now. But it just came out maybe not even a year ago.
Hmm.
Maybe it's 6 months ago. Things are out and on television.
Yes.
Just as quick as they. But I remember back in the days, Willie, you know this, where I remember when E.T. came out, and I think it was about a year before it ever came out on VHS. It may have been longer than that. Now, a movie, some go to the movies 2 months later, is out on, where you can get it at home.
Yeah.
I'm ready for the Odyssey. That's the one I'm looking forward to.
I've seen that one.
Christopher Nolan.
Do we think Christopher Nolan, that would give me a benefit of the doubt there. Is it getting good reviews?
It comes out in about a month, so we'll see. But the cast is loaded.
I also, when I see Matt Damon in like the costume from back in that era, I can only picture him as some of the comedic characters he's been. Like he doesn't strike me as like the hero from like
it's Jason Bourne.
Yeah,
but
it's been a long time.
Yeah, I mean that the trailer was awesome.
It looks good.
Odyssey,
It looks
the
really
trailer
good.
was awesome.
I'm intrigued. I think I'll probably go see it, unless people just tell me don't go. It's not worth it. I hope it's.
There's no bad Christopher Nolan movies.
I agree that I'm giving it the benefit
be
of the
at least
doubt
2 hours and 30 minutes.
It'll be 3 hours. I
I
promise.
can't sit through a 3-hour movie.
Really? No
At
matter what?
home, yes, but not at. No, I can't do it at the theater.
Just caffeinate it up.
Yeah, I guess
Just
so.
get that big old soda, sip on it.
But then I'm going to the
Don't do that.
bathroom.
Yeah, you'll pee in the middle. Yeah.
That is a dilemma. That is a big dilemma.
And this segment has been brought to you by Rotten Tomatoes.
Yes.
An AMC theater.
Yes, that'll do it for us today. We will be back tomorrow reacting to Tennessee Titans mandatory minicamp. For the love of God, I hope Cam Ward has a good completion percentage. I really do. But we will find
Take deep
it.
breaths.
Exactly,
Keep an even
Adam.
keel. Don't overreact.
Oh, well,
Uh,
we may not overreact, but we can't speak for our wonderful listeners out there. And just one thing, as I said before, if you're going out to dinner tonight, perhaps you're getting Mexican, just appreciate the bottomless chips and salsa, because as our visitors have noted, it's not like that everywhere. It is a luxury. You could be defeated by a courtesy. I believe that's what the guy said. So if you're going out for Mexican, just keep that in mind. But we will talk to you tomorrow at 3:00.
Be love on your people. Have a safe, blessed, and wonderful day. I love you. The team loves you. You hear that music? Don't you forget about us, because we will not forget about you. We will be back on these airways starting at 3 p.m. tomorrow, live on 102.5 The Game. And as I always say, we're going to be talking, and
You're going to be listening.
peace. You got a picture? He's going to work out with Mahoney.
I guess so.
Oh man, ooh, his hands gonna burn.